Jets were down big. I went to sleep. I woke up. They had won the game.
Hell of a game.
Yeah.
Probably
that, fake spike, and maybe Philip Merling.
Yeah.
You might be able to argue that Jumbo Elliott might be the last time Jets Dolphins had a moment that mattered.
No. I think Philip Merling was a guy that, remember, they had a pseudo playoff game. Brett Favre and his New York Jets team, they got off to a hot start.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins, that's when they made the playoffs, I think in 2007. They had one big game that knocked the Jets out and put the Dolphins in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize what an Arctic landscape across football you have to be for 2 decades professionally? And this is why Tua represents such hope and why the fan base gets so mad when you do over-analysis of a quarterback when you have a 15-game sample size of his health. Look at how starved this market is. Of 20 years of give me the moments. What are the moments? It's like Gronk falling down because Kenyon Drake has the ball on a lateral. Like you have precious few moments that you can cling to as like that day or that night my team stole a Sunday. Stole everybody's attention because my team mattered.
You have the Wildcat. I mean, that was the talk of the NFL
20
for a
years
week.
ago.
Yeah.
It's 20 years. They went to New
07.
England and they beat the Patriots.
Yeah. There was also a Monday nighter where Braylon Edwards made his Jets debut, and Ted Ginn finally had a big game for the Dolphins. We were at the Kendall Ale House, ordered a Freddy Krueger. You know they used to light that thing on fire? Very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
That seems like a liability
Are you familiar
issue.
with what the Freddy Krueger is?
Well, you just described it. It sounds like a sandwich on fire.
So it's like Jaeger and Glenfiddich and Schnapps. It's like all sorts of, it's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but it's made to look like Freddy Krueger's sweater. And then they would light it on fire. At a bar, they lit alcohol on fire. The shot would be so hot when you touched the glass, you'd have to blow out the flame. You'd have to think of it. You have to blow out a flame that is fused by alcohol. Surely some of the alcohol will spill out of the glass, so they stop lighting it on fire.
I legitimately originally thought that it was a sandwich.
Of course you did.
A flaming Freddy Krueger sandwich. That something comes over to the table and there's just like a piece of toast that has bread burning on top. And I'm like, what kind of party is that?
I had a Freddy Krueger that night. Braylon Edwards, a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
How about the Brandon Marshall years? What do you remember?
Oh, that was a good. There was
those were
the
good
Pouncy,
years. Yeah.
the Pouncy block.
Oh,
The game where he flipped. That was a Monday nighter. Shall I?
yes. Well, it might be. I can't believe I forgot the Pouncy block, Stugotz, in mentioning moments where the Jets and Dolphins have mattered at the same time because they're playing a game that someone cares about in the last 20 years. And Pouncy, for those of you who do not remember, at whatever critical juncture this was in the season and the game, the Miami Dolphins badly did not need a pick 6 in the other direction with Darrelle Revis. And here he goes. He's going the other way. And Mike Pouncey, the first-round draft pick, center drafted higher than any center ever had been in 2 decades of drafting first-rounders on the offensive line and still not being able to block anybody.
They got it right with him, though.
They did kind of, but then he got hurt some. You don't remember much about Pouncey's entire career here, except for perhaps the time he tried to chase down Darrelle Revis on Monday Night Football, gave up after about 4 yards and said, bleep this, I'm just going to do a somersault. I'm just going to
I'll throw him off with a somersault.
I'm in the frame. I'm the center. And you know what? In the middle of this not chasing down Darrelle Revis, I'm going to spin my body playground style. And here are the Dolphins lying dead at the 50 as the Jets celebrate in the end zone.
Sperano, Pouncey, Sperano, Pouncey, Sperano, Pouncey, Sperano, Pouncey, Sperano, Pouncey.
You were picked in the middle of the first round.
Pouncey,
Fancy black for police. You've been Fancy Black.
I don't know why that song makes me so happy.
It's a great song.
Every time I hear it. The Jets and Dolphins haven't been even Pouncy Revis relevant together since, correct?
I mean, Tony
No.
Sperano is now dead.
Yeah.
The late
R.I.P. Salute.
the late Tony Sperano. When I saw Bill Parcells, they're approaching 80 on with the Mannings. I'm like, man, he's still pretty. Like he's
Pretty sharp.
he's still pretty sharp. You get scared putting an 80-year-old that hasn't been on television in a while on television.
He's a young 80. Tuna. I mean,
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, please. How are you going to do the poll? I got to give the poll to somebody else. Can
Not
somebody?
going well.
No, I'm not going to do this to you if you're wearing the boxing
One of them
gloves.
is up, but now my whole keyboard has
No.
pencil marks on it because for whatever reason I used a sharpened pencil.
Use the eraser.
I didn't want to stab myself in the finger by doing it the other way around. There's
No.
It's a
a
weird cost
surprising
analysis.
lack of office supplies here. Lots of cue cards, but not writing utensils.
Please take it up with Heidi. Please. I mean, we need
Hildy,
to have.
that's
Oh,
all
boy,
fine.
that's another 100.
Hundy.
Shit.
The biggest of fines. Wow.
Dang it. It's
That's
going to be
right.
one of those mornings.
Yeah. It's unfortunate you only have hundreds.
I'm in the movie theater
Embarrassing.
and I'm looking at Mike Ryan and trying to argue because I don't understand how this bet escalated as quickly as it did. I'm trying to argue that, along with Billy, that the Jimbo Fisher, where you have a hair island, it's a cul-de-sac and a hair island, that Mike would only have to be that for 1 minute and then could just shave the rest of his head. That it makes it the different bet than the Paul Finebaum, which we've already done and gotten great payoff of. Stugotz looks like
Yes.
Paul Finebaum.
Because once you do the Finebaum, you have the side stuff going, right? But you shave that off afterwards, but you're completely bald, which is why I'd rather go Jimbo Fisher or Jumbo Elliott. I mean,
It's so hard to have someone adhere to a bet. And now, after we finally have a set bet,
okay, it's
you wanna
fine.
make it Jimbo Fisher?
Just tell me how it escalated like that. I don't
I'm
understand
not
why.
exactly sure. It's just been he's been Georgia agnostic this entire season. He's been beat Alabama, and I'm sick and tired of it.
all I said was do it against Alabama, okay? You guys have told me the defense has been great all year. I think what Dan is wondering, we were having a conversation before where I said to Dan, I got home yesterday and I told my wife about the bet. And she said, "You're almost 50. We're still doing the Finebaum bets." Like
So
she's
fair.
upset with me.
So fair.
You
She's
look so
upset.
good. You spin these into a win. These are actually not equal stakes because I feel like I have something to genuinely lose.
Well, you blew it yesterday. Your negotiations were terrible.
Well,
Not on just.
he was gonna weasel away from it if
No,
I didn't
no,
give
no.
him the spread.
Mike, my wife is fine with it. My kids have arrived at an age where this is really embarrassing for them. Like it used to not be. They didn't follow the show, but now they're going to be in college.
Yeah, this is very embarrassing for me.
Oh.
Yeah, for me.
How?
How old are you? You're almost 50? I thought you were like 4 years older than Dan.
No, I'm younger than Dan.
Get out of
Really?
here.
You're
Yeah.
in
How old are you?
your 40s?
How old are you?
I'm in my 40s.
No, you're not.
Yes, I'm
That's
48.
impossible. 48?
No.
Yep.
You have 2 more years to 50?
You guys should
We're
know
gonna
by
get
now
there.
I'm 49, but I always tell people I'm a
Oh.
year younger than I actually am. So I'm
Okay.
48. It keeps me. It helps
Well, no,
keep
then
me
you're 50.
young. Yeah. No, I'm 49,
But
Billy.
you tell everyone you're a year younger than you are.
Yeah. So I'm 48. Right.
So you're 50.
So you're 50.
I'm 49.
Well, either way, you look bad for it.
Thanks.
He also, by the way, you guys weren't privy to this, and I shouldn't do this, but whatever, we're here. After everybody left, he comes in, he goes, "Woody, you know you're paying that off for me, right?" And then walked out.
We made a colossal mistake. Whittingham was willing to partake in this bet.
But I felt bad for him because he was doing it just for the show.
He's done it before.
He has more hair than
So?
everyone. Yeah, like if anyone should lose their hair, it's him. He
but
can
his-
afford it.
His hair is coming back. It's
I
no
think-
guarantee mine is.
I think his hair is like Lego hair, that it just comes on and
it
on,
really
Yes.
does. Yeah.
I'm worried that he's gonna go to get it shaved off and it's gonna break the razor. How do you get a blade through that thing?
It doesn't work because he has nothing to lose. It's like a billionaire betting $1. Like the whole point of Mike putting himself
with
out there, or Dan putting 100.
Right.
The whole point of Mike putting
It's
himself
gonna
out there
hurt
is that
Mike badly.
there's a risk. There's an
Yes.
immense risk involved. There's no risk for Whitty.
I mean, this is why I brought up the question. Why did it have to escalate to something that Mike actually cares about, his hair? I believe that Georgia defense is excellent, too. I love the analysis, actually, Stugotz, of they're playing Alabama. You heard yesterday that Miami's defense, the best we'd ever seen before this one, gave up 103 points in a season. Alabama is playing Georgia for if we score 20 points.
Yes.
Like if I don't even know how many points Alabama. If I walked up to Saban now and said, "How many points would you take right now if I give it to you and you could just not have to play against them and not have bad things happen to you?" You think if 20 is about where you put the over under, right?
I think if you ask Saban, how many points do you feel like you need to get to against that defense for you to win the game? I think he'd probably say like 24 points.
I'd say that the over-under on their team total is 21.5, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings. If Alabama hits that over, Nick Saban, if you tell him that, he's got to be feeling pretty good because the only way you're going to beat Georgia is in a rock fight.
Well, this is what I want to ask you because you say that's the only way. And after the stakes escalated the way they did, and I wanted to ask Jessica about this because I thought Notre Dame was super fraudy at the beginning of the season. But when you go through the game logs of Georgia, you find, to Stugotz's point, that they're not playing the best of the SEC teams. Not that, I mean, you could play Florida and think it's a big game at the time, but beating Florida doesn't mean much when everybody is doing it.
You have to keep in mind, though, those teams are now no longer considered good because they got rolled by Georgia. Georgia had a stretch where they played a top 15 ranked Florida that fell off because Georgia beat the brakes off of them. Remember when Kentucky was a thing?
Remember
when Arkansas was a thing?
But at the time they played Kentucky, Dan, Kentucky was 11th in the country. To Mike's point, that's what he's trying to say.
But Kentucky was a game that people could have lost, but also that game was close. Like that, not real close, but
30. It ended 30-13, which is like their closest game this year. Well, outside of the Clemson game,
it was 14-7 at half. I mean,
yeah. That's how you're going to have to beat Georgia. You're going to have to stop their offense, and your defense is going to have to kind of match Georgia's.
But any team that goes on to win that many games is going to have played teams that were once ranked but then fell off. Because also in college football, losing to Georgia or Notre Dame or Cincinnati can derail your entire season.
They got Arkansas.
Kind of a tough argument.
Right. They got Arkansas when Arkansas was 6th in the country, but no one really believed in Arkansas at the time. I mean, they drubbed them. They beat them 37-0.
No. People were talking about how physical. I mean, Spencer Hall on
Wampin'.
Yeah, he made it a thing. People were enjoying the idea that an Arkansas personality team was a bit of a bully, and then that's when Georgia got everyone's attention, where they just shut out Arkansas, which Arkansas's got great athletes, and that's not a bad win.
That was the 6th ranked team in the country. They beat them 37-0. That's when everyone started paying attention.
Arkansas is damn good. Arkansas is a damn good football team. They're playing in a tough SEC.
Right. They were the 6th ranked team in the country, but they weren't top 6 in recruiting in the country.
No.
So I do believe that people thought that they would kind of, the water would find its level there.
Let me ask you a question. If Arkansas is playing Cincinnati, if Arkansas is playing Notre Dame, I'd be putting quit on Arkansas in those situations because I think Arkansas is a damn good team.
Oh my God.
Here
don't
she
think
is.
so?
She made such a face.
Well, you were agreeing with me on Cincinnati. If we're doing...
No, I think
You were
Cincinnati's
feeling good,
really
Mike?
good.
You think Cincinnati would beat Arkansas?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the line would be.
Disrespectful to the group of 5 once again.
Oh,
These blue blood
Cincinnati's good, by the
fans,
way. I
they're
like
always
Cincinnati.
going to just dump all over the little guy, Dan. It's just...
I mean, Arkansas
Terrible to
lost
see.
to Georgia, Mississippi, Auburn, and Alabama.
That Ole Miss
Right.
game, by the way, was one of the best games I've ever seen.
52-51.
It was incredible, that game. So I think, look, Georgia's very good. You don't need to nitpick their schedule.
My
They've
point,
dominated.
no, I'm not. This is what happened to me. I'm
see.
taking you through the process of how we arrive at the movie theater, and I'm talking to you in a place I did not think I'd be talking to you before last night, which is we're talking about Jimbo Fisher and cutting your hair like him, because I'm like, why did that escalate so quickly
Really
to that
did.
place? And so I went through the game logs on Georgia's season, and I'm like, okay, these are all wins that are big and impressive. Nobody played them particularly close. But I wouldn't have feel as confident as Mike about giving Alabama 6.5. When Mike, why is your head in your hands right now?
It's 8, by the
I
way.
just showed Mike the 247 2021 college football team talent composite rankings to show him like Arkansas is like in the like
Can you
late
explain
20s.
what the composite rankings are?
It basically
Thank
puts
you, Mike.
together like the talent of all of your recruits. It shows how many like 5 and 4 star and 3 stars you have and ranks them, and very imprecise, obviously, but it gives you a good sense of what you can expect from a team in terms of who they're recruiting. And so I was scrolling down to find Arkansas, and then he's like, Miami, and Miami's at 13, like right under Notre Dame, I should mention. And he's, God damn it, and just starts like shaking my chair vigorously and having a mental breakdown next to me.
Yeah, Miami, according to these composite rankings, are the 13th most talented team in the nation. 7 wins in year 3. You want to keep this guy around? David Epstein, you want to keep him around? David Epstein is a board of, I'm so happy that you mentioned David Epstein is a board of trustee member. David Epstein is a board of trustee member that is credible because he's a board of trustee member, and he is protecting his own self-interest right now. He is not a decision maker in any of this. And with every leak, he is, I think, confirming to the brain trust of 3, Joe Echeverria, Rudy Fernandez, and Dr. Frank, why he should be cut out of this. And that's why you're seeing these leaks about Jen Strawley being retained, about how Manny Diaz should be retained. There was one board of trustee member alongside of Blake James at Manny Diaz's introductory press conference. It was David Epstein. He is a part of the culture that has plagued this program for 20 years. Okay with everything, thinking that they're doing such a great job. He's just trying to preserve his own self-interest right now. And he is leaking things that are very counter to the overall greater good of where Miami is trying to head right now.
Can you help me with the leaking of things? Because whenever I've seen leaks that are overtly with someone trying to gain something, they have a news value to them. So explain, like, how do you even leak without media arm propaganda? How do you leak, hey, the tide is shifting toward maybe keeping Manny? Like, that's gossip and rumor. Like, how does
the reporters reporting it are damn good reporters.
But how do
like I said,
leaks
is a
work?
credible source.
But how do leaks work in this realm? What I'm asking you is, it just becomes internet gossip fodder from people who actually know things but want a version of the truth out, not the version of the truth out. Someone can't leak, hey, Manny's closer. The mood or temperament is that Manny's closer to keeping his job. That's not a real thing.
I mean, if you see what gets aggregated, because yesterday Bleacher Report set out a push notification, Manny Diaz close to re-signing with Miami. So this shit matters.
But what I'm asking you is,
there's like, if you look at the sources outside of the local media that is reporting some of this stuff, like Barry Jackson's a damn good reporter. And I'm not knocking the fact they're getting it from a credible source. I happen to know the source that they're putting it out there from, and that source has an agenda. That source is not a decision maker in this process. That source has been cut out. That source has a bruised ego. That source is just protecting his own self-interest, and it's acting in direct contrast to where this program needs to go. That source represents everything that has plagued this program for the last 20 years. There is a cult inside of that Heck building, inside of that board of trustees, that is toxic. It is a toxic loser mentality of constant excuse making, of blaming others when they haven't asked for anything. These are all friends of Blake James. They are not part of the solution here in Miami. They're getting in the way. They're making Miami seem like a circus, and I know about this search. The people that are deciding are not talking. They are flatly not. Look at what we know. If Miami wanted to retain Manny Diaz, if that was indeed the plan, Miami would have announced days ago Manny Diaz is staying. They would have. They flatly would have. We haven't seen that. We're just, right now, working in the shadows. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what we know right now, which is nothing. Now, a credible source gives something to a local media reporter. They got to run with it. right? They absolutely have to. If a Board of Trustee member reaches out to you with an inkling of where this is going, you have to run with that. But you're also doing their bidding. This is the only card that person has to pull. It's the only one. I don't know why he's pulling it. Just get out of here.
Jimmy Flanagan.
Some of you might be looking at this and be confused about how passionate Mike is, and he really has morphed from donor guy, expectation guy, Homer Canes guy into legitimate. He's leaving meetings, taking calls.
He left the show.
He's in the middle of reporting.
Yeah.
He's doing real reporting on this, and I would argue that whatever, and with all due respect to the Barry Jacksons and the Gary Furmans of the world who have been covering Miami well for a long time, I would argue that Mike Ryan on this story is as plugged in as anything I've heard in the market because he's done the actual work and is reporting stuff that isn't temperature. It's just talking to a lot of people and doing legitimate journalism to tell you what's going on in the program at a chaotic time and a hugely important time.
On this specific front, I don't know if I'm going to be a Miami insider for everything else. I've never been before. On this specific instance, I just so happen to have sources at damn near every level. So I can sift through a lot of the BS that laps across shores. Like yesterday, where there's this whole big public push about Gino Torretta being the athletic director. I found out that morning that this wasn't nearing a rapid conclusion when it came to the AD search. That would be a total contrast to what it was. And the way that it was reported was that the board had already agreed this is the AD and they were going to present it to Dr. Frank. That's not how this is working. The Board of Trustees is just going to rubber stamp this. This is Dr. Frank's biggest moment as president when it comes to this athletic program. He is putting his stamp on this hire. This is his call. He is empowering the search for
and he's getting involved. He's he's realized
through his proxies too, Joe Echeverria and Rudy Fernandez that are active in it. They're trusting the search firm. If the search firm leaks anything, they're not doing their job. They're handling multiple. If you go to Turnkey's website, they're handling multiple searches. They want to be in charge of Notre Dame's search. If they start leaking stuff, they're not doing their job. They don't get more business. So anything that you hear when it comes to athletic director names, outside of a couple of reporters that I know are plugged into this situation, take it with a grain of salt. There's always an agenda behind it.
Ooh.
These college football searching firms and the way that these agents run the sport, it's just totally wild, right? I mean, just a crazy sport. I don't have anything to say.
Well, what's happening with Miami is particularly frustrating to me because there's just someone protecting their own self-interest. And they're shaping a narrative that makes Miami look like a circus. And it might actually work in deflecting some of your plan A's here, your targets. Because Mario Cristobal is a unique candidate.
It gives off shit show.
It does because people aggregate it. And they send out push notifications. Oh, man, Manny Diaz has got to come back. And getting them, that muddies the waters. Now, Mario Cristobal is the right candidate for this time for Miami because he is a unique candidate. He knows exactly what the ceiling of this program is. He's seen it. He's experienced it. You do not have to sell him on what an empowered head coach at the University of Miami can do with real resources. Like, the hard part for Mario Cristobal, leaving that job is going to be very difficult. The hard part is knowing Miami isn't going to Miami.
Right.
And when you have people like David Epstein and other people inside that Heck building that are just muddying the waters and making us look like a shit show when we are not. That's the most frustrating part.
This is all Epstein's fault.
No, I'm not going to put it all on. It is not a shit show. It is taking its time. The people in charge are doing the right, best possible job for people that have never had to do this before. Have faith in it. But when you have people angling for other people, like existing candidates trying to protect their culture,
you're
it's
seeing,
just like, what are you doing?
You're
man?
seeing the real belly of the thing, though. When Jessica,
classic Epstein.
When Jessica says what she says about search firms and all of the money that was
I'm so fired up, man. It's just like
you're angry.
There is,
but you're seeing
about to be your
AD.
It's
just
sports bank co-host.
I know.
That's
right.
I'm with you, Mike. Brian Kelly's a crap face too. This sport is evil.
It just needs to be eradicated.
It rips your heart out and then
Mike,
puts it on the floor, steps on it, and takes a shit on it.
And then it makes Rob Saleh and Matt LaFleur shovel it up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what was that about?
What
that
a
was
great
mean.
story that was. I don't think Stugotz has heard it. I don't think Stugotz knows the story of
Gino Toretta maybe being the co-host of Sports Bang CBS a Saturday morning.
he's
Goldie
on
killed that audition, though. Sorry, Gino.
There was a story on ESPN.com a couple years ago when Matt LaFleur became the Packers head coach that when he was an assistant, I think a grad assistant at Central Michigan under Brian Kelly, and Robert Saleh was also a grad assistant.
And
Right.
grad assistants have almost the worst jobs in football. You do all the awful stuff, 80 hours a week. Amin knows this life coming up through front offices, 80 hours a week, and they pay you nothing. It's 20 grand, and you got to share a treehouse with Bill O'Brien.
It's like the coaching equivalent of being a player. You do all this stuff for nothing. We're paying for your education. Those classes I can't go to because I'm stuck at work all day shoveling snow. Yeah.
Listen to what
Right.
Brian Kelly did, though. This was a stain yesterday that when I read it, I'm like, oh, ooh.
Yeah, it was gross, right? So he invited them over for a party, and then they came over, thought they were going to be like guests at the party, and he said, "No, you're shoveling the driveway, and then you're going to park cars all night for guests." So they
coming to
shoveled,
America. It's
parked
coming-
cars all night, and then went home.
McDonald's. It's McDonald's.
And people, I mean, this
It's part of the process.
this
I mean,
excerpt from
that's what you gotta
ESPN
do.
went pretty viral on Twitter yesterday of just people being like, "Wow, what an asshole!"
I
But
mean, that's just terrible.
it is terrible. Spin Zone. They both ended up becoming NFL head coaches.
He
so-
taught him because they
Right.
shoveled
right,
Brian
Dan.
Hell
Kelly.
of a program that Chippewas had.
Right, I mean,
It's the Brian Kelly tree.
Brian Kelly thinks that the injustice doesn't spread far enough. It shouldn't just be the players who are abused for nothing. It should also be the grad assistants.
It's just such a bad look. And like I guess what I didn't articulate very well yesterday was that like there's just a lot of people who dislike Brian Kelly. And so him being gone now from the program, like I think there might be a big feeling of being slapped in the face if you're a Notre Dame fan. I think for some people there also may be like this weird tinge of relief because there's a chance they'll hire someone actually very likable to fill that role. And that would be nice.
Likable. I think you sort of take the Notre Dame job almost instantaneously. You become nationally an unlikable coach, or certainly things would trend that way.
I think she's saying within Notre Dame.
Oh,
though.
no, I
Right.
understand. But Brian Kelly, look, man, we're sort of skipping right past that whole controversy of, hey, a student died on the field also working for him, falling from a camera tower because bodies weren't being protected there. Like that, nobody
On
was
a
asking.
super windy
Nobody
day,
was
right.
asking, look, I can't imagine the responsibility some of these people have, and the idea somebody dies on your watch. I don't have nearly enough details to tell you how responsible Brian Kelly should be for that. I'm just juxtaposing it against this is a holier than thou school with a holier than thou coach who the coach is going to be unlikable there almost just by virtue of being the symbol for that school, right? Because it gives off the whole.
No one likes the Notre Dame head
We
coach.
do it all
right.
better than you do it because we're Notre Dame. We do football.
Kind of like Duke with basketball.
We do football proper. He's not a likable person, but I don't know how Golick feels. You've got him on the show today. You're going to talk to him. I've been curious if Mike Golick is good with what Brian Kelly did as somebody who is so proudly Notre Dame.
I want to give you that answer, but I don't because we're going to play it today. I had a great conversation with Mike Golick, and I don't want to give away how he feels about this. And Dan, I told him not to go after Kelly too hard because I'd like to get Kelly on God Bless Football. I mean, there's angles being played everywhere.
Are you embargoing
I'm trying to get the
information?
Notre Dame athletic director on. I am trying to get Brian Kelly on.
And the new coach.
And the new
At the
Notre
same
Dame
time
coach
was the
all
request.
at once. Yep.
Yes, it's embargoed.
So you are embargoing
Our own show.
Mike
Little round
Golick's
table, Dano.
feelings later in the show.
Yeah, it's a nice little team.
This is
Yes.
actually really good. I'm proud of Stugotz.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Got to stick around to
good.
listen, Dan. I mean,
Well, I think the reaction from a lot of Notre Dame people, I don't know what Golick's is yet, I haven't heard it, is that like when he's at LSU, you may see early years Brian Kelly, which was like purple face, screaming at players, losing his cool all the time, and not the kind of autopilot, like calm and collected, has all his ducks in a row the last 5 years. That's just what I've heard from people on the beat. That's what, Pete Sampson from The Athletic has been saying on his Notre Dame podcast. He's pretty plugged in. I just think that like, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he's nationally the next head coach, if he's nationally hated, so be it. But if I can like the person, that would be nice.
Where were these feelings about Brian Kelly like 2 months ago?
It's interesting, right?
What do you
It's like
mean?
everyone at Notre Dame seemed to like Brian Kelly
No, I
and
think
defend him.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that people admit he is a really good coach and turned the program around, but like I don't think I've heard anyone say like, yeah, he's a super amazing guy. Those are two different things.
But is this fair criticism from Billy? The idea of, wow, Notre Dame people certainly publicly like him a lot less now that he's not there just from 2 days ago.
Of course, because he did something that is going to ruin his legacy at Notre Dame. 2 days ago, when he was the head coach, he hadn't done that yet, and he was the winningest head coach in history. Now he's taking a flamethrower to his legacy. He's not getting a statue outside the stadium.
I mean,
now.
the timing's not great, Dan. He's got a team that potentially could make the playoffs. He bailed on that team.
I mean, that
you
is the
know?
biggest thing.
Well, and
that is the
two-minute-
absolute biggest
Well,
thing.
and the committee said they would hold it against the school. Like if a coach or if a player gets hurt or a coach leaves, they would change how they look at that team if it's not going to make them as good. So,
Dan, if you stick around longer after the Golick interview, Stugotz and I will break down the fickle pickle.
oh, the fickle pickle.
That's good branding.
A 2-minute meeting, it's reported that Brian Kelly met with his players, didn't take any questions. I don't know how accurate it was. I heard reports.
I saw 11, Dan.
I saw
it was
from 2
two,
to
it's
11.
2 minutes. There's a transcript of it that was just published during the show.
Why, did someone have their iPhone rolling?
Can we recreate it? Can we recreate a transcript, or was there no interaction? Was it just Brian Kelly talking to his team for between 2 and 11 minutes?
It appears that it's just him talking and saying like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Bye." That sort of thing.
Really?
I had a great time
Yeah,
here.
no, I'm so proud of what we accomplished. I love you
all of that. But
He
like,
did some of that?
all of the
Yeah.
coach speak, like everything you would expect.
Go out there.
I don't think it stings as much as it used to because the players could just leave too, right?
It does sting though when you're on the verge of potentially making the
If
college
you're a
football
player, though.
playoff. If
If
you're
you-
a player,
Right.
and I think the players understand that it's the business. Like they know that this is a reality.
It's not supposed to be a business.
It is a business.
Well, it
It's
is.
I know,
been
but
a
it's,
business.
I think players know it's the business. Is not exactly.
No, I agree. Hey, I totally agree with you.
It's not.
You're not
I-
gonna-
I-
should be noted, pay the player.
Yeah, right.
Can we guess what's in there and have Jess confirm or deny?
Do you think he calls them men?
No. Oh, that's a great
Gentlemen,
question.
gentlemen.
What a great question. Hold on a
Team or
second.
team?
Let's talk about this. Does
Gather together, man.
he paid
I think he
indentured
says team.
servants?
Shovelers?
Get those grad assistants in here.
All right, let's take some guesses on what this
Hey,
transcript
Freeman, warm up the car.
says before Jessica reads. What is the reporting on this? Mike's question is a good one. Did someone have a phone in the room and leak it?
So it looks like there is a video and then a transcript. I haven't verified this yet because we are currently recording, but I will verify if you guys want to put together your list of cliches, and then I will control
Okay.
F.
Yeah, no, we should be journalistically sound here. So I'm going to go, he says team.
Team, men.
I love you guys.
Gentlemen.
Man or gentlemen?
It's such
I'm
a
going to
good-
go men.
I think men.
Yes.
These are
all,
such good
all that
questions.
we've accomplished over these 11 years.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the
Proud.
culture. He says culture at some point. Culture.
Say what we built.
What we've built, the culture we've built here, all that we've accomplished. here.
Gratitude. Are you gonna hear the word gratitude anywhere in
No.
there?
You don't say
No,
gratitude
no,
if you're not going to
no,
let them
no.
talk.
Exactly.
No. He says love.
Love?
Yeah. Just a word down.
Wait a minute. Is the word love going to
You
be
know
in
I
there?
love you guys.
What's the bet? If DraftKings were making this a bet, what would be the bet on
Well-
whether he
well, it's
uses the
Brian Kelly.
word love?
It's Brian Kelly, so you have to actually weigh it down if we're trying to get 50-50.
Plus 200?
I would say
I would
he
say
says
like
love.
plus 350.
No. When you're saying goodbye to someone you've been in a relationship with 11 years and you've had success with, the word love is going to get tossed around, but I put it at like minus 120. And that's like if it's
Really?
anybody else, like it's.
But he
like,
hasn't known these people for 11 years. It's like 3 or 4.
What does
I'm
he
taking
say? Like,
under.
what does he say? I love you guys.
How many loves do you say?
None.
Ooh, that's a.
He's not going to say love.
Over under 3
you're putting-
loves.
So you're putting it at a half.
Work is in there for
No,
sure.
I'm
no,
putting
no,
it at
no.
1.5. Let's just go standard.
I've got
1.5.
another one. I've got
1.5 loves.
I would love a bet on counting cliches, like just straight up cliches, something that you would hear anywhere. Not coach speak, but cliches.
I think this is the tightest line we've ever devised. 1.5 loves from Brian Kelly in a ambiguously timed speech.
Do you think there's wheeze in there? I bet you there's more wheeze than
Ooh,
eyes.
there's
Yes.
more. Yeah. there's
I'm
more
going
reason
under
eyes.
though. I'm going under. Wouldn't you go
On
under
loves?
on
He says
loves?
we-
I'm going over on
You're going
loves.
over on
Over
loves.
1.5 loves.
I'm gonna
yes.
go over 2. He's gone into living rooms. He's had to preach a culture and a system.
He was in a living room when he took the LSU job.
Yeah, the love is a word too. It's just it can mean nothing.
I don't think
to
he's
him.
going to say culture.
You guys are really close with these lines. Like I'm
Jesus
impressed.
Christ.
We should do a free-to-play game on DraftKings
Yeah.
with this stuff.
I
This is
think I know
good.
Brian Kelly.
I don't
know
think
this guy.
you would bet where would you
Apparently
put the
no one
line
knows him.
on the word culture?
Culture that we've built. I'm gonna say we're gonna put culture at a half. 0.5.
I go under.
You're gonna go under? Okay,
Yeah,
well
under culture.
that's all right. So 1.5 loves, half a culture.
How many works? How many works?
Ooh.
Where are you putting the works?
Let's go half a work.
How about built? Built?
Built,
Well, hold on a
built,
second.
built is like I'm gonna put that at. You don't see this often, but I'm gonna put it at 2. We can push
If it's only 2 minutes, there's probably what,
2
like
builds.
less than 200 words.
I thought it was 2 minutes. I thought it
That's
was.
what I'm saying. If there's 2 minutes,
Jess.
there's maybe like 150 words in
Jess,
here.
can you tell us how long this was?
It's roughly 2 minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
2 minutes.
2 to 3, I would
That's
say.
what I've been building.
How many wheeze, Mike? What are we doing with wheeze?
I think we is like probably the highest. So because
Bang that over.
5?
we also disassociate his own accountability from the situation. I think, and that's I kind of feel like I know this monster. So I'm gonna go 4.5 wheeze.
I go over.
When I say gratitude, do you
You're
guys
under on all of them.
you guys think we'll
Tony's under on all of them? What do you think he says?
I have over wheeze. I
swipe
have
up?
over 1.5
No, I think-
loves.
I think he says those things to just not that extent. I also think there's a program in there instead of program.
program.
There's a program.
Oh,
Is there a closeout line that he
Well, I was
delivers?
gonna say,
Program
I
with a
mean,
U.
is there a thank you? Because you guys said no gratitude, maybe not the word, but is there going to be the phrase thank you one time?
Thank you. Yeah,
I think
I'm
one
thankful.
time, yeah.
Yeah,
on the
all right,
way out,
half.
someone has to tap him on the shoulder and remind him. Thank you.
I think
Wait,
he
hold on.
finishes off
think I'm gonna
with
go
play like a
1.5.
champion today.
The word thank and any kind of root after that, right? Like thankful, thanks,
version of
thank
thank
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
all
taking
right.
the under wherever you said
So
it.
we're setting it at 1.5.
Under.
But I think
I'm going over on that.
What's the number on pride or proud? Pride or proud?
Proud. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, we can push this one. 2 prouds. 2 prouds.
Over.
And what do you think about like an end line, like go out there and win one for the Gipper, like something along those lines?
that's what I'm saying. Play like a champion today.
said play
Yeah.
like a
Play like-
champion
Yeah.
today, which is not going to be
Any
what he
references
says.
to the All-State
How do you
playoff
know?
predictor?
I mean,
You think he hit the sign on the way out?
Signs in the locker room, Billy. This meeting was in the Goog.
All right.
Goog.
the goog.
The
Goog.
Goog.
I shaved the Goog.
Guglielmo.
Yeah, every third Thursday. Got to. It's swampy.
Jessica, go ahead and read for us, if you would, the transcript here. This is big. We've got
I've
some.
never been this
I'm really
excited
into
before.
this.
We
I'm
kept-
so
hold on.
nervous.
Really into this.
I have
Hold
over
on, we
one and a
kept the
half
line.
loves.
All
I
right.
mean,
So we have
Most excited.
we set love at over under 1.5.
over,
We set we at 4.5.
over,
We've got built at 2. We've got culture at 0.5.
Under.
And we've got program at 1.5.
we have thanks at under 1.5.
Program with a U. We have that at 0.5.
Program.
I'm gonna take the under.
We're
on
gonna
that.
have to analyze that because
I'm going over.
I don't know. Why are you making him Howard Schnellenberger? Why do you think he says
Beverly
program?
Dan, I know, but the thing is, Jess has to turn it on. Dan, every good college football coach has to say program.
Program.
It's just part of the rules.
Put it on the poll. Someone other than Guillermo, who's wearing boxing gloves, does every. We got to give this
Can
to
I-
somebody else. But
Ooh,
Guillermo,
this
you
is a-
can't do this.
This is and we have over under half of like go out there and make the playoff, blah blah blah, do something like make me
Right.
proud.
Oh, something about
Play
their
like a
future.
champion.
Yeah. We have proud at 2, and we have. Ooh, here's a fun one that we should add. Is there a reference to LSU? I'm going to set a reference to where he is going.
No,
by
absolutely
name
not.
specifically.
Go
at a
Tigers.
half. Does he say?
okay.
Does he end it on Go Tiger?
Does he have anything in there where he's rooting for them?
Yeah, at the end. I think that
Yes.
Okay.
Good call.
Rooting for them.
This could never get past a sports book because we don't have the language, but if we hear it, we know it.
I don't think he'd ever say LSU, by the way. I think he'd say Louisiana State University.
Probably.
Wow.
No, Amin is asking, should the verb rooting be one of the words? The
Like
word,
the
not
actual root. I'm gonna set that at a
I'll be
half.
rooting from afar.
I'll be rooting for you. Sounds
Exactly.
so
Pulling for
disassociative.
you, anything like that.
Well, that's part of the bet.
Yeah.
But will he mention, this is one for you,
I'm praying for you guys. Ooh.
where there'll be a...
How about
It is Notre Dame.
I'll
Notre
always
Dame.
be here
That's a
for
good
you
one.
guys.
So we're
How
gonna
about
set-
that?
We're gonna say I'll always be here for you guys is a good one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
set that at a half.
That's a good one.
Here for you guys and prayer,
Oh,
invoking prayer.
Will God's name be invoked?
Invoking prayer, because that also is disassociative because he's not necessarily super accountable. Because it's Notre Dame, we're gonna set it at a half, but we're gonna juice a half. Pray any invoking of religion.
I
we're
feel
gonna
like
set that
a-
at minus 250.
I feel like
Wow.
a dice game has broken out. I'm holding hundreds over here, and there are going to be all sorts of bets paid in cash in a second. Is the word playoff going to be mentioned by him? The word
does
playoff.
that tie into like the rooting for it?
No,
like,
the
one
word
for the Gipper?
itself. Will he say not rooting for you in the playoff? Like we got to the playoff. Will the word playoff make
While
an
he's
appearance?
listing off
Yeah.
his
We can
resume.
set that
Yeah,
at a half. We
right.
can set that at a half.
Should they have been at
We
5?
covered against Alabama. We'll set that at a half.
The tough part is it is only a 2-minute speech, so it's a lot of stuff here, guys.
I know.
Well,
I
we
have
got
the over
we
on
at-
everything. Eh?
We've got we at 4.5. That's the highest over under.
All right, let's do this. Is everyone ready? This
You guys ready?
This
Yeah.
is. I don't think we'll ever be ready.
What's the line on thankful, thanks, thank you?
It's,
I
that's
have-
that's 1.5.
Yeah, I have that.
You
at
got to go
1.5.
low on everything because how
I went
short it
under
is.
on that. Right.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Everybody back off.
All right, Jess.
All right. Well, I wasn't able to formally verify this, but we're gonna go with it. There's a video. It's really hard to hear, but it sounds legit. It's from Blue and Gold Illustrated, I believe. So there's a lot of blue and golds. That's
Are they
true.
illustrated?
Or
is it just words?
They're not.
You guys won the green
illustrated.
tops? I love it when you guys go green tops. Just as an aside.
I'm sorry, it's blueandgold.com. Oh wait, no, it is Blue and Gold Illustrated. There's a lot of blue and golds, guys. This is difficult. It is a .com.
Okay, how many
Also
weeds?
a .org and a
How many
.edu.
weeds?
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
It's very long, so it's 2 minutes, so
All right.
it'll But
All right.
okay, here we go.
The stage is yours. This is a guitar solo.
Did he
Jessica.
read this or said it from the heart?
It sounded like he said it from the heart, but again, the video's hard
Does
to
he have a
hear.
heart?
No, he doesn't.
Are there odds
that's a
on that?
good point.
Should we back away and just allow?
Yeah.
No, I
her-
think we should cheer every time
Yeah, she's gonna
we
read it.
tally something.
You're
Okay.
gonna read it, and we'll be like, okay, that's
Yes.
a we, that's a we. All right.
Okay, so you want a dice game is breaking
Yes.
out around you
exciting.
as you
I
read.
mean,
Okay,
So this
Ready?
is very confusing. I have 1.5 programs.
programs.
and over a half program.
I have over a half program. I have no program, just program. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and we have culture too. I forgot culture.
As soon as-
And
I
does
have
he
no
dress him?
culture.
And
Yeah.
the biggest prop bet that we have is how does he start this whole speech? Is it team, men,
You guys are gonna be
I
surprised.
have
I know.
men gathered together.
Hold on.
Irish?
Hold,
Ooh.
hold on. I don't. Hold on. This is a big one right off the top.
Does
is
he
the one where
do
you
the
have, like,
dismissive
4.
ladies?
All right. Here we go.
All right.
Good morning, guys.
Guys.
We all bust. We all bust. Guys wasn't there. It had to specifically be men.
Yeah, that'd be men.
Just tore up his ticket.
God.
Guys, it's the Midwest.
threw it
Everyone
on the
says
floor.
guys. I could
Guys.
have told you this.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to say y'all now.
Oh.
Thanks for getting up here in short order.
Thanks.
Short
Thanks.
notice.
That's one.
Thanks.
That's one gratitude right
Oh, I
there.
took
As
the
you know,
under.
I sent out a text last night trying to give you as much notice as possible, given the circumstances that we all know that happened relative to social media and information getting out.
Wait, hold on, slow down,
Slow
slow
down.
down.
Slow
So we've had a we.
down. We had a thanks.
We had
broke up with them
so we
via
only
text?
Need one more thanks to cash the over on.
I
that.
have the under.
Yes, he broke up via text.
Look, I know we have been through this together. I recruited virtually everybody in this room. I want to be able to tell you face to face why we are at where we are at.
Oh, what? We are at
Where
It's
we
we.
are
Where
at.
we
We're-
is
sorry,
we.
so
Yes,
we're
another we.
blowing over the,
We're gonna go
4.5.
over on the we's.
That is very simply that the past 12 years have been the most incredible 12 years of my life for me and my family being here at Notre Dame. It's magical what we've been able to build with the most incredible student athletes.
Build.
Oh, we should have had a student athletes over under.
Built. Yeah, we had 2 on Built, so that's 1 Built.
But Weeze was the lock of the year.
Yeah, Weeze has blown over already.
The ones that I'm looking at right now. So many times people look in. That's a bad.
Did he say
that
proud
comma is not supposed to be there.
Did he say proud yet? He hasn't
Not
said
yet.
proud yet. Okay.
So many times people look in for a reason to blame, or there was a reason for something. There was nothing here but first class and everything that Notre Dame has done for me and my family.
First
Should have
class.
had family on there too.
First class.
I saw my time here as a blessing, working with incredible
Is
men
blessing
on a
prayerful?
day-to-day
No,
basis.
we're not going to say blessing is religious. Yeah, it's adjacent, but it won't catch.
But blessing is a
Spiritual, but
cliche.
not religious.
Is blessing not a cliche?
Blessing is
Incredible
a
blessing.
It is a cliche,
Hashtag
but
blessed.
yeah.
He said hashtag blessed.
But there comes a time where you look in your life for another opportunity, and I felt like it was time in my life for another challenge. And I saw that opportunity in a very short window, and I felt that it was best for me and my family to pursue a new challenge.
I feel bad now that we're at 4, and it's like we're gonna.
We've moved on from weed.
Well,
No,
I
but
gotta
the
tell
line
you,
was 4.5.
I mean,
No, we already have 5. The overcash.
Oh.
In
Okay,
an upset though, me and my family might be in there more than we.
amazing.
We knew that he would disassociate himself from accountability here. So
So there is no one to blame. There is nobody that is at fault. Nobody did anything wrong. You guys have been the backbone of this program, and what you've accomplished.
how is it spelled?
How is program spelled? It's important to know how this is
Okay,
spelled.
so we just need one more program with an A, and one more and
Wait
one
a minute, but
program.
we're not hearing it though. Are we sure
That
that
was
the
a program?
Yeah, are you sure?
Read
I
it.
will verify with the audio.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
important?
Yeah. No
important.
action on
And
that.
One
no,
question,
no.
Brian. Program or program?
No,
But
we
right
got-
now you're saying it's
Pending.
program.
Pending.
It's Graham
Okay.
with
no,
an A.
TBD.
it's been taken off
Guys,
the
this
board.
is Brian Kelly. He doesn't say program. I'm sorry, Tony. He's not a program. He's not a program guy.
That's a bad hire then for LSU. I mean,
I'm with you, Stugotz.
Tony, stop.
Dan, I'm not going to tell you again.
Tony, either-
Every elite coach says
Tony,
program,
either-
even
Right.
if they're from the
Tony,
Tony
either-
says he said
But all
it,
the elite
Dan. I don't
coaches
know
are
what
the
else we
same.
need.
He's from
Force it, yeah.
Massachusetts.
It doesn't matter.
No,
He's not a
Massachusetts.
program guy.
Asshole.
Program.
Masshole is a good one.
Tony, either get a microphone.
Program.
Can we
Well,
turn
Jess
your
won't
mic
turn
on?
it
The
on.
problem is Jess has to turn on my microphone,
It's
and
on
she's
now.
doing stuff, and it's hard.
But I'm tired of you
Program.
running over, and it sounds like
The
your
program cash, though, Dano.
it sounds like your forehead is hitting the microphone each time you arrive at it.
We won a lot of money.
We're gonna listen to the audio, but for now we move on.
You've accomplished and will continue to do that. End of sentence.
Okay.
I think you're one of the best 4 teams in the country. Jack's, parentheses, Swarbrick,
But I'm leaving.
is going to get somebody that will continue to lead this program in incredible fashion.
Program or program?
The over for right now on the A has cash.
There's no way he did program and program, so it's one or the other.
It's 2 programs.
He's not alternating.
Yeah.
Jessica, you say this with such conviction. I know you believe it to be true, but right now you are reading, and there is no proof on your page that it is program.
You're right.
Or
You're right.
program.
I'm going
gonna
off
listen.
of a hunch.
We're gonna
but
check the tape, but for right
We'll
now,
check the tape.
for right now, we'll just assume program with an A has cashed.
This is why it would be hard for DraftKings to actually take bets on
Why
this.
would
Like,
they?
there's going to be
Why
a
would
lot
they?
of there's going to be a lot of murky mess here on
And
whether bets
Steelers
can
Bears
cash.
Monday Night Football with Cassius Marsh, isn't?
Yeah.
Still can't say that name. I don't know what it holds for us moving forward, but I hope to heck it means you're playing for the national championship because you absolutely deserve it. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every one of you for giving me this opportunity to speak
Thanks.
to you directly because you didn't get that chance very often, and to thank you for allowing me to
Thank you again.
Oh my God, I went under.
Over cash is
Sorry,
on
don't
thanks.
get that chance. Different meaning there.
All right.
And to thank you for allowing me to pursue what I love to do, and that's develop 18 to 21-year-olds. That's coach speak.
Yeah, coach speak out of context.
We should
create a Twitter account, out of context coach speak.
That's a
Grooming.
great idea.
The word grooming comes to mind.
All right,
I
let's
mean-
do that next.
Settle down. You will continue to achieve at the highest level and have great success no matter what moves forward for you. So again, thank you. I love each and every one of you. And
Love, and thank you.
How many loves is that?
That's the first love. That's the first love.
One
We
love.
set it at 1.5.
No
Desperately.
prayer yet. No religion
No,
yet.
he said heck, but that doesn't
and he
count.
said blessing.
Guys, this is the last paragraph.
Oh
It's all gonna
no!
come down to
I
that.
need a
Are you ready?
love. I need to force a love in there somehow.
In-game wagering. In-game wagering. What do you guys want to bet on this
win
last
one for the
paragraph?
giver. Come on.
I think he's done saying love.
How does he close?
I need rooting.
There's
You
no
got to be
more
rooting for
reason.
him.
Go out there and win
I
one
don't
for
think
BK.
there's
Another
would
thank
you?
you. At the
Win
end.
one for the Gipper.
What do you
like a
guys
champion
need?
today.
What does everyone need? What does
Another
someone
thank
need at
you.
the
No,
end?
no.
What needs to come?
Thanks for the I need rooting.
Come on, let's hear it. All right, big
Go with
finish.
an
All
X at
right,
the
big
end.
finish. And for me, more than anything else, it's a sad day, but one where I know each one of you are going to do great things and you've got more to accomplish. So I wish everybody here the very best. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith, as there's a drive into deep left field by Castellanos, and that would be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Deep drive by Cassiano.
I needed a love.
That is
Oh
great.
my God!
He actually ended it with appreciate it. I think.
No!
Billy, one of the things that I love about our listeners is, and this has happened for a long time, whether it's phone calls, emails, texts, as they've grown with us through social media over the years, is they help us produce the show. They're on the lookout on all the properties for things that might get missed by others. So I was sent this weekend by a couple of different listeners something that might have gotten past a lot of people on STUpodity that I'm assuming that you left in STUpodity because it's funny and unbelievably funny. Do you know what I'm talking about here, Stugotz? Do you have any idea? Stugotz gets scared when the listeners do this to him, and then we have sound and he doesn't know what it is because it can be anything. Do you have any idea what sound I'm throwing to here?
No, what I get scared of is when you ask for sound from STUpodity, because I know it's not going to be flattering sound. It's only going to be sound that's going to make fun of me, which I'm totally fine with. Like, I get it. I'm fine with that. It's a great way to promote this stupid show that we do every week. But I know it's not going to be flattering. So,
Well, what happened with this moment, and what context does Amin need to understand the full funny in this moment, Stugotz being maximum Stugotz on STUpodity? And I'm just curious how you received it as it happened.
So this was on God Bless Football, not this past week, the one prior to that. And, you know, we were getting into Thanksgiving mode where we were asking people, what is it that you like for Thanksgiving? What do you do for Thanksgiving? What's your favorite side? What do you eat? The typical, I want to say mail it in, but kind of like mail it in headed towards Thanksgiving episode where you're like, let me ask you guys about Thanksgiving.
Java, favorite side dish,
Well,
Thanksgiving.
hold on. I'm sorry. So now we need to get some context on who he's talking to here. Because, Stugotz, I don't know how this didn't haunt you throughout the entirety of your weekend. You've been having Jabba on week after week.
Jabba Chamberlain.
Jabba
Yeah.
Chamberlain,
Yep.
former pitcher for the Yankees and the Cleveland baseball teams.
An epically bad picker of NFL games.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really bad.
The
Really
worst.
bad.
How
Yeah.
bad was he this last week?
I believe he went 1-6 this week.
That's
which
a good
is-
week for
It's
him.
not his worst.
Okay, and he's been on several weeks in a row, right? Stugotz
Every week.
has developed a friendship with him. He's been on for how long?
We've been married to Jabba for like 8 straight weeks now.
What is the relevant information that Amin needs to know about Jabba Chamberlain? Anything?
Well, what you need to know, Jabba Chamberlain, we've gone over, former Yankee.
Yeah,
He's
I
friends with
remember him.
Mojo Muhtadi, formerly Mojo Rawley, the wrestler, who's friends with Gronk, who's friends with Chris Gronkowski. And Chris and Mojo and Jabba are on every week now making picks because this was going to lead to BJ Upton, which then led to a bigger fish, but we couldn't track down BJ Upton. And now we're just kind of in it.
Stugotz, and this is Billy really embracing the Stugotz experience, right? Because all Stugotz is trying to do with STUpodity
Just to
and
be
God.
clear, the big prize at the end of all of this is BJ
Yeah,
Upton.
Upton.
Well,
that's
no,
right.
that was
Well,
leading
that
up
was Rob
to...
Gronkowski.
Yeah,
think,
that's...
right.
I don't
yeah.
think that's going to happen. But
I
then
was confused. by
Maybe
that.
the lead singer of Journey.
We
I mean.
veered off to Waka Flocka and DJ Who Kid, and none of those have panned out either at the
Well,
moment.
That's not Steve Perry.
not Steve Perry.
The Filipino kid?
Yes.
Steve Aoki also has not panned out. As we
Okay,
wanted
but
to.
just so that people understand on what this particular grift is, Stugotz is grabbing an assortment of celebrity, trying to climb up the ladder of celebrity to continue to getting more and more celebrities to do his work for him, even if he has to endure Jabba Chamberlain going 1-6 week after week picking football games.
Jabba's a star. I will tell you. Yeah.
It is a very honest relationship, though, because every week Mojo comes on and plugs his jeweler. And then Chris Gronkowski plugs Ice Shaker, which is his ice shaking. I don't even know what to call it.
From Shark Tank?
Yeah. He plugs Ice Shaker.
What's Ice Shaker?
Ice Shaker's like it's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for?
Cools down your protein shakes.
What's the expensive like
Yeti?
It's like a Yeti type of thing, but it's also like a protein shaker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he does that. He has them customizable. They also have this Beyond Protocol cryptocurrency that they plug every week.
So this is just like one massive Ponzi scheme, but I'm not quite sure whose Ponzi scheme.
Exactly. You don't know really who's benefiting the most.
Regardless, it's all a giant grift, and
it's great, though.
It's all meant for Stugotz to land huge celebrities. But for the moment, he's using Jabba Chamberlain. And this is how little he knows about Jabba Chamberlain.
Jabba, favorite side dish, Thanksgiving.
You got to understand, as Native Americans, that's really not the holiday we truly generally celebrate. So, but knowing what it is, so it's everybody always asks, and it is what it is. But probably the tradition. I love a good mashed potato.
Can I listen to Stugotz's laugh?
Oh, it's so unbelievable. It's like,
what's wrong with any of it?
Did you leave all of this in, Billy, because of how you were wincing throughout it? Did you question whether to leave it in or not?
Well, no, because it wasn't that uncomfortable. And I figured people might wonder why all of a sudden he's just jumping from person to person and then Jabba's answer is just not there. So, it was an innocent mistake.
Yes, let's hear it again.
Jabba, favorite side dish, Thanksgiving.
You got to understand, as Native Americans, that's really not the holiday we truly generally celebrate.
Just end it right there.
Jesus.
I want to hear the awkward laugh.
The awkward laugh by Stugotz is the star of this.
Jabba, favorite side dish, Thanksgiving.
You got to understand, as Native Americans, that's really not the holiday we truly generally celebrate. So, but
he's laughing. He was laughing. He said mashed potatoes. I got an answer.
You got an answer. You got an important answer.
I got no BJ Upton.
Yeah, you got an answer, though, to your hard-hitting, mail-it-in question.
Favorite side.
One step closer to the ultimate goal.
BJ Upton, perhaps.
Well,
Steve Aoki.
We have a minor update on that. I got an email from one of the bookers who said BJ Surhoff passed. And I don't know if it was a typo or if we asked the wrong BJ. So I need to follow up on that.
Now, the guest booker, Billy and I believe there's a chance he tried to get BJ Surhoff on.
Billy, how many scams are you running into consistently with Stugotz? Now the entire frontier is born of Stugotz trying to plant. Every week you send out a ream of predictions from Gronk's brother, from Mojo, from Jabba Chamberlain. Why do they keep
And Jabba's son has to then approve Jabba's pick.
Why do they keep coming back?
Well, because now we're family.
Yeah,
what are we going to do?
Right.
Like the Olive Garden.
But family, when it gets together on Thanksgiving, knows the history of its family.
It's new family, Dan. These are new friends of mine. I will never make that mistake again.
I bet you if we go next year and do the same thing,
I'll probably ask him.
Yeah.
How's Adam Gase doing, by the way? Speaking of family.
We're no longer friends.
The relationship has fallen apart. You had such a great relationship for such a long time. It was so nice to see you close to a Jets coach.
It was nice. Listen, this was of Gase's choosing. Like, I would like to still be friends with Adam Gase. If anything, we've learned that Sam Darnold wasn't his fault. It was Sam Darnold's fault. He's just not good at playing football. So I'd like to rekindle my relationship with Adam Gase.
Send him a text
I've sent him
now.
many texts. He hasn't responded.
What was the last one you sent? Yeah.
Let me see.
Read it.
Hold on.
Oh, we're going to just wait here in the interim here
Yeah.
while Stugotz looks up his texts. I will read this story that I loved. Dollar Store. Did you guys see the news with Dollar Store?
No.
Dollar Store's prices since 1986 has been $1. You go into Dollar Store, it's $1.
Mm-hmm.
And after, look at that, 35 years, it's now going to be $1.25. They've raised their price. Dollar store is not going to be dollar store. It's going to be $1.25
they changed their
store,
name?
but not changing their name, I don't think.
Bullshit.
This is false advertising, man.
Bullshit.
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 When's the last time you went into a dollar store, Dan?
Oh my God.
A lot of shit there hasn't been below $1 in quite some time.
That's true. They do have items in there that like $2.
Yeah.
Tax.
What's in play? Are you familiar with this store, Five Below? $5 stores are the new $1 stores. Five Below is like everything in this store is $5 and under.
So this is dollar store trying to keep up with Five Below?
Which is also not true of Five Below because several items are above $5.
The only thing that you had to do as a media empire, as a business empire to knock out dollar store was be Five Below?
I think really Amazon has blown out a lot of these traditional stores.
You think?
Yeah.
Is this like what is it? There's something about Mary where he picks up the hitchhiker and it's like 10-minute abs
Yes. Yeah.
It feels like that, right?
And then
6-minute abs.
until someone comes out with 5-minute abs.
No, there was 8-minute abs, and his idea was 7-minute abs. Yeah.
Isn't it Dollar Tree? Not
There's
the Dollar
Tree.
Store.
There's Dollar Trees. There's dollar stores.
Dollar General.
Dollar General.
Yeah. Several
Family
fond
Dollar.
memories of
Family Dollar.
balling on a budget as a little kid. My abuelita telling me I can have anything in the store, but everything was $1.
That's how he became a Browns fan, right
Yep.
there. She bought him a $1 dish.
Yeah, and it's all like off-brand type stuff. It's not a Stretch Armstrong. It's like the Flexible Freddy.
Not always. Sometimes you find a brand name thing in there for $1. Got some baby powder. Johnson's & Johnson's.
Whittingham, why were you so delighted by the emergence of Flexible Freddy's?
Just the ingenuity to come up with a different name for a character with just alliteration. Alliteration's all you need.
At the dollar store?
It's been a while since I texted Gase.
Are you scrolling or did you just search?
No, I found it.
Okay.
It was back in.
Is it funnier if Amin reads it or if you read it?
He's not going to hand that over.
Yeah, well, no, I can hand it over. I don't mind handing it over.
So I can see just the
Back
most
in January.
the two most
Wow,
recent
those are
texts Adam
long.
Gase
Paragraphs.
are long paragraphs, and they're in blue, which means that they went unresponded.
What I will tell you is the one before the last one was when we were still friends, and it was me responding to Adam Gase about something, and then I think
without betraying him, can we read his part, or is his part something that has anything sensitive
His
in it?
part is not. It's just about like it's logistics. About hey,
yeah, I think
talk
it's fine.
to Eric. We'll get some time tomorrow after
What
media
date
availability.
was this?
This is back in I think January, right?
Well,
I mean,
January is the latest text that you sent. I don't know what the text before that. I do.
That's when you can read his. I don't care.
Had
Read
he
whatever
been
you want.
fired
Here
yet?
we go. So July 27th, 2020. Hey man, hope you and the family are well. Love the trade. Two first rounders for a safety? Awesome. Listen, no one else is going to offer you this. Let's talk on the podcast for 25 to 30 minutes. And anything you might be uncomfortable with after the fact will be taken out.
I did. I offered.
Hold on. It's me. We're taping. And I think it'd be good for you. Would also mean a lot to me.
Mr. Editor.
Let's make it happen if you
It's a
can.
Mr. Editor situation.
Yeah.
Salesman, this guy.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit.
So Adam Gase response. I talk to media tomorrow and I tell Eric I want to do it. Joe's about to do his media, so I'll talk to Eric afterwards. So give me a few hours and I'll get back to you. Stugotz responds, awesome. Thank you. Good spot for you with me. Plus taped, which is always better. Let me know after you speak to him, and he can feel free to reach out to me, of course. If Sam is good and healthy, you guys are going to be good.
Oh, God.
Well, wait, what was after that?
That was July 2020.
You
Then
didn't send him any texts afterwards?
no response from Gase.
Left it alone for a while.
No.
A while. You just left it alone, period. You haven't
no, there's
spoken to
one
him
more.
since.
Yes, so
There's
there's one
another.
more. So this was July of 2020 when that exchange happened. That's the last thing that Stugotz sent. Gase never responds back. Fast forward to January 5th of this year. So 5 months later, or 6 months later.
Lousy.
Sorry things didn't work out, man. Hope you and your family are well and had a great holiday and New Year. I know you land somewhere great. Let's talk tomorrow or Thursday, privately, if you have time.
Yeah. Yeah. Forget
Two days after he was fired.
totally forget what I was going to talk to him
Gave him a
about.
pep talk.
But I like
I don't
the
know.
privately. Privately was a sentence, by the way.
Yeah.
Tell Adam
It's-
Gase to keep his chin up.
Let's
Yeah,
talk-
text him now. Hey, Reach out to him right now.
I will.
Let's craft this together, guys.
Let's craft this together.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. What should we? What?
Let's
Here,
take a shot at
yeah.
Sam Darnold.
No.
No,
Here, Just
no.
go Oklahoma? Question mark.
Nah, I think
No. That's the third. That's the third text. That's the third
it's got to
text.
be something
Get him to
non-sports
bite.
related.
Get him to
Hey,
bite.
Thanksgiving just happened.
Yeah, hope
so
you had
have
a good
holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Right,
Happy
okay.
Hanukkah.
Wait.
Favorite
whatever.
sides. Yeah.
Should we just now bombard Adam Gase with text?
No,
favorite
no,
side,
no.
Favorite side at Thanksgiving.
You're playing this wrong. You
Are
gotta
you
do,
Native American?
Real
you gotta do
amazing.
something just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like I need a rest. I'm looking to make a chicken pot pie this week. Do you have a good recipe? You just want to like break the seal.
Where was Gase before he was in Miami, right? That doesn't work. Where was he
Denver?
before that? Denver? Right. Headed to Denver. Know any good places? Something like that?
No, he
He
was in Chicago.
before
Yeah.
that.
Headed to Chicago, which
Yes.
I actually am. Any good places?
Now, it was
There
a
you
cup
go.
of coffee, though. It was only 1 year. He may not have gotten
That
out
is the
much.
play though. You just have to initialize some conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Initiate.
Denver's a good
No,
one.
initialize it too.
Yeah, Denver's
I'm going to go
a good
headed to
one.
Denver. Any recommendations?
Yeah, definitely.
Go to Denver.
Daughter's looking at some schools for lacrosse.
Yeah.
Headed to Denver for the holidays.
How do you
Any
spell
good
recommendation?
Rex? Just say Rex. R-E-C-S.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good
Hope you had a
workaround.
good
Do we want an
Thanksgiving.
answer though? The angle with
No.
Stugotz, Stugotz doesn't just want an answer. He
No.
wants something from him other
Well,
than an
he
wants
answer.
to spark up the
You
conversation.
build it up to
Dan.
it. Yeah.
Got to
yeah.
spark up the
Don't
conversation.
come in too hot.
Mm-hmm.
But too needy, you mean? Because it's going to end in an ask of, "Will you come on STUpodity?" Right? Like
Of course. That's where it
Yeah.
always ends. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now, Stugotz, was there any other kind of falling out beyond what's happened in the text exchange there? Just him not responding?
Well, Adam
No.
Gase has sort of fallen off, right? He has not resumed working in the NFL, has he? Adam Gase has fallen off rather ingloriously. He'll pop up somewhere though,
Maybe that's why he's upset, because Stugotz promised him he'd land somewhere great.
and he has not yet. I wanted to play some sound for
mad at me.
the audience that we had not gotten to this week. Amin is buddies with Andrew Schultz, the comedian, and Andrew Schultz had Michael Irvin on his podcast, and Michael Irvin evidently gave up a lot of the good crazy sex stories, which is anytime a story has, Mike Tyson was fresh out of jail, I was on probation, and there was so much debauchery that Terrell Owens had to flee the premises. You're getting some good stories. So which is the sound that you have here, Mike, from the Andrew Schultz podcast?
I was young. I came from the ghetto of Florida.
Yep.
I'm the 15th or 17th kid. Ain't never had nothing, right?
Wow.
Never had nothing. So I win lunch food. I win a Super Bowl. So what? I took a little friends of mine and we went to a hotel room and had some fun. Why we had to make that a big deal?
Hey, you didn't.
Say to them now. They took me through all of that. We ain't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. I said, I bet y'all will leave me in that hotel room now. Leave me alone. Do what you want to do, Mike. Just come on out here and get us another damn Super Bowl.
Feed the man.
Right.
Give the man what he needs.
No, I'm just joking.
No, you're not.
I'm bullshit. I'm just bullshit, but I'm not lying.
How many ladies in the hotel room?
CTE. CTE. I can't recall. CTE. This is when you can use certain things to your advantage. This is what you do. Right there, right there. That's what I'm saying.
So the kiss and tell, there's a line where he won't cross, and it's on numbers of women in the hotel, correct? Because he'll go up to just about any line on that front. You rarely have these guys talk about sex so openly, but that's a line he won't cross. Is there any other guardrails here that cause some sparks?
Okay, so no hotel memories, no, not hotel memories. He had his own house. It wasn't a hotel. It was his own house.
I think I can tell you this. Why it got expensive is not that it was an all the time thing, but it was, I'm 100%er.
yes, I'm aware.
What I am.
Yeah.
Best way to explain is I'm 100%er. And when you got me focused on one thing, I can go hard at it.
Yeah.
When I was on something else, I can go hard at it.
Yeah, 100%.
100%er. So I had to leave the hotels because what happened was, I wouldn't just stay in one room.
Right.
So I would have 101, 201, 301 right by the elevator.
Right.
Said some up in 101, 201, and some in 301. And I rode elevators.
Can I tell you where I lose a little respect? Just put him in one room.
No, because there are different people in the game. There's people in the game now. And I would say this in my young years. These are my young years, folks. Don't take it now. My young years, I would come off the football field.
Yeah.
Where I was double teamed. I said, well, wait a minute.
You can't go to single coverage in the hotel.
Double team me on the football field.
Who are you? And now he's playing zone?
So when, hey, man, go and say, go find your corner, go find your safety. Double team and come on back. No, I'm just joking. Come on. It's comedy.
Yeah. Mike, why is your head in
We
your
like
hands?
to have fun.
The quintessential line in there is, I'm bullshitting, but I'm not lying.
Well, he wants to tell you that there are
bracket coverage in the hotel room.
Yes, the playmakers. It was a fun basketball night last night, Stugotz. Julius Randle, your Knicks star, wants his star calls. He is too big and strong, he is saying, for everyone in the league, and he's being officiated like Shaq. He's too hard to officiate because he's too damn big and strong. And we will get to Knicks Nets in a second with Amin Elhassan. He did a YouTube show last night for us, pregame and postgame, on the big game of the night, Golden State and Phoenix. And Curry was no good last night, and it was shocking to see Curry be no good. Is that Bridges? I saw that the numbers, all suggested, and I never know how accurate that stuff is. Guy is guarded 37 times and he shoots 3% on isolations. I'm not sophisticated enough to watch basketball when it moves that quickly to know whether someone is really and actually locking someone else down.
Right. So the Suns switch a lot. So some of that stuff is a little murky because Bridges starts on him, and then as Curry moves, and Curry moves a lot more than your typical star player, he might get switched off and then back onto Bridges through this. But they did a great job, and I talked about it yesterday. They're the best team equipped to defend the Warriors because they have all these guys who are long and athletic and can switch and defend. And that's what we saw last night. I thought they did a tremendous job. I thought also part of it, Curry had an off night. I think even the Suns were saying it, like, some of those shots are just, it was Stan Van Gundy was saying it. Some of those shots, he hits those shots. He didn't hit them last night, and that's just basketball. But as a defense, you do what the Suns did, which is you try to make it as hard as possible, and then at some point it just turns into prayer.
But that's really what it is, right? It's prayer. It's mostly prayer.
No,
when you play that kind of game, that far away from the basket, you're going to have shooting nights like that. Even Steph Curry's going to have a shooting night like last night.
Right, but I think you got to give the Suns credit because they made it so that he's not getting into a rhythm. He's not catching clean looks, so that even by the time he does get clean looks or shots that we are accustomed to seeing him make, he's not making them. Second Spectrum, which does all that tracking data stuff, they have this thing called quantified shot quality, which is basically given an average NBA player, what would he shoot on that type of shot with how close the defender is and where it is on the floor. And then they show you what the actual field goal percentage is. And Steph Curry routinely is a guy whose expected shot quality is really low. Like, you're not supposed to make these shots, but he shoots an incredibly high percentage on them. He has one of the biggest deltas between what you expect it to be and what it actually is. But when you live life in that fire, there's going to be nights where it's like, yeah, you shot what was expected.
Billy, how do you feel as you wear boxing gloves that have a pencil
dangerous.
A pencil attached to them so that you could do your job today? How do you generally feel about the phrase expected quantified shot quality?
I don't know what that means. Exactly. I just kind of keep it moving.
No one knows.
How was Turtle?
Jerry was great. Jerry Ferrara was our guest last night on the pre-game, post-game show. I don't even know.
I think we called it. I think we settled on mid-game.
The mid-game show. There you go.
Does he not like being referred to as Turtle? I'm assuming not. I'm sorry, Turtle. For doing that.
He understands that it's, it definitely made a lot of money for him and gave him great opportunities. The funny thing is, when he was on Power, Proctor, yeah, like he loved it because it erased people identifying him as Turtle. It got to the point where he got married during the show, like married in real life. He posted on Instagram pictures of, from the wedding, him and his lovely wife.
Jamie Lynn Singler?
No.
Oh.
No. Yeah,
That's a fine.
That's a fine. That's a huge fine.
He's Turtle, though, by the way.
Isn't that who he was dating on the show?
Once upon a time, yeah. But
no, I thought she was his dating interest in the show, the character. I think that Billy was going super layered, double.
It missed.
The problem is they dated in real life. So.
Did they? Really? So I wasn't that far off.
Wow, it hit.
But they didn't get married. They
sorry.
broke up, and
what happened?
They moved on, and his lovely wife Bree now, and they have kids. And
Bella?
Bree.
Bree.
But anyways, the day of his wedding, he posts a picture of him. Yeah, I don't. You're derailing the hell out of the show. Is what you're doing.
That's what he does. Yeah.
He posts a picture of him with his wife on the wedding day.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Look, you said this is funny because Billy is wearing these gloves and he's got a pencil in one of those gloves, and I haven't been able to see his face for 2 years because he wears his mask super high. But the parts of his skin that I can see, I just saw turn really red with delight and blushing when you said to him, "You're derailing the show." Like I saw genuine happiness in the change of his
satisfaction
of his skin tone. It went to a dark.
I'm not trying to do that.
He looks like a Fortnite character.
Ooh.
I mean, there's a weapon in there, and they're boxing gloves and a mask.
What would be that character? Is it Agent of Chaos? If we were to make a superhero character out of you wearing gloves and a pencil and just looking to puncture the show from behind a mask at every turn, what would it be? Agent of Chaos? Because I've never seen you happier. I've never seen you blushed flattered when he said you've derailed the show.
It's the highest of compliments.
It wasn't my intention. I didn't mean
it. Didn't bother you at all, though, when it had happened.
If you feel bad.
By the way, if you want to check out what Amin Turtle, I'm sorry, Jerry, and Tom did yesterday, go to youtube.com/LeBatard and Friends. And also, we're going to put that in the LeBatard and Friends network feed, which you should subscribe to because you can get all our podcasts, including our newest effort between Jess and Kate Fagan off the Looking Glass.
Ooh.
I can't stand that, by the way. Like, you're Turtle. That's it. Embrace it. You know?
Well,
like, if he came up and introduced himself and said, "Hey, I'm Turtle," I'd give him a hug. If he said, "Hey, it's Jerry," I'd be like, "Who?" I mean, serious.
The story I was trying to tell before I was so rudely interrupted 8 billion times by everybody in the room is he gets married. He posts his pictures from his wedding, and all the Instagram comments are talking about, "You got to get Ghost out of prison. What are you doing getting married?" Because now he's identified as this character Proctor on the show Power. And for him, as ridiculous as it was a moment of like, wow, I've finally broken out of being typecast as one person and to be typecast as someone else. Much in the same way that Julia Louis-Dreyfus forever was Elaine, and then she became the Beep.
Who doesn't want that though? Those are two. Look, you can say it's some sort of burden to be typecast as a character, but those are two iconic characters, and turtles are good too. Like I like Power. I like
Turtle.
I like that on his wedding day, the most important thing that happened to him was people stopped calling him Turtle.
Ghost is in lockup, man.
How many seasons of Power have there been? How many? What's the number that we're at? Because
so 6. It was 6 seasons of regular Power.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had the Power Book 2, which is the one where they just continue the story, basically following Tariq.
More Power?
Yeah. So there are 2 seasons of that. We're in season 2 of that. Then they also had a prequel season about Kanan and how he grew up. So that's Power Book Kanan. And then we have Power Book Force that's coming out in the winter or in January or so.
People like that show. It's popular.
Look, it had a moment where they really could have done something cool with it, and instead they just went back. Like, what do people like? And they just kept.
Well, but how many seasons? Hold on a second, though. That should have probably ended after season 6 in terms of what the story was, right?
It should have ended a lot sooner.
A lot sooner?
Look, I won't say a lot sooner because Jerry was on that show. He got to work a couple of seasons there. That made him some money. I'm glad anytime my friends get to work. So Sure, it went as long as it needed to.
And how was he last night? You talked to him after. He's a big Knicks fan, right? He must hate the Nets.
He's a big Knicks fan. We actually asked him about that. If the Knicks moved to Seattle, would you become a Nets fan? Not only is he from New York, he's from Brooklyn. His mom still lives in Brooklyn. And he said never. He'd never be a Nets fan. He would basically be a Knicks fan in Seattle until they got a new team in New York.
Stugotz, you were telling me about some sound on STUpodity, not to turn all of this segment into a celebration of ourselves.
Navel gazing.
Mike snuck in there very quickly. We do need to remind everybody, because we're doing this ourselves, that we continue to need your support for the network and the things that we're doing. And whenever we ask for your support, the support is always overwhelming to us. And I don't need to go through the backstory of how much you have helped us do the thing that we're doing right now, so that we can, have a business and be able to hire Amin so he can go as Dom Kang.
That video is out too on the YouTube page. It's really funny.
Yeah, Lewis did a great job with the editing there, and shout out to Lewis, Juju, and Tony, who all supported me.
What is this, an acceptance speech?
What is this?
This is honestly promotion, which we should have done.
When I say Lewis, I get in trouble. Mean does it.
Well, but no, I mean, he said Lewis, and I don't know why we're thanking people like if you're accepting a Grammy.
Because you know what, Dan? Sometimes you need to recognize the people who made it happen. Yeah. It's called gratitude, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, Lewis, did you appreciate getting thanked?
He nods.
Of course, because he's off mic and we shouldn't be talking to him.
I actually mic'd him and he just nodded. I can't get it right with these guys.
Another agent of chaos. So we got another one.
You're surrounded.
I should point out, if you're watching, I don't know if it made the broadcast, but I did have to tough talk one of the viewers last night. I probably went too far. Yeah, I probably went too far, but I just.
Are you arguing with the chat?
No, I'm not arguing. I told somebody I had enough.
I had enough. It felt good though, right? To tell him that, right?
Okay, Mom.
I mean, really? I mean, now that's who you are. I've had enough. I've had enough.
Enough is enough. Yeah.
So the best part. Never had enough. I've seen you. The best part about it is Amin's internet Wi-Fi is really bad. So he's arguing with a guy in the chat named Danny Martinez, and he's just trying to go in on him, but every other word is cut off, so you can't really hear him.
No, then that's perfect, because I said some really, really mean stuff.
Oh, come on. I mean, why? I mean, why are you
necessarily?
I mean,
you're the president of the company.
I mean, you're literally arguing with the internet. That's what you're doing. And our
but Danny Martinez is someone who will try. Dan, I'm telling you, he is going in trying to get an argument.
There are 1,000 Danny Martinez. I grew up with nothing but Danny Martinez.
Guys, just let's talk strategy here.
Legit had a best friend named Danny
Martinez.
Of
course, Dan. We've got a Danny Martinez. There are thousands of him listening to right now. We could conquer the earth in the Danny Martinez demo. Nobody would conquer. If you ever had a business that needed to really sell to Danny Martinez, this is the show for you.
Do you think, Amin, that one, going off on Danny Martinez, and then two, bringing it on the show the next day is going to dissuade Danny Martinez and all the other Danny Martinezes going forward, or encourage them for more of this the next time you do one of these?
To be fair, I didn't say his name. Tony did.
Okay, well, yes, true. But we don't know which one we're talking about, one. Two, the reason why Danny Martinez was actually talking to Amin and talking shit to him was because his internet was bad. That was the point that he was trying to make. He's like, Amin, your internet sucks. And Amin just goes on for 5 minutes.
I heard about this. And we're going to need to improve some of this, because it's not just you with the bad internet, but Haberstroh hasn't had good internet since he's joined the company. He really needs to do something about that. We're a broadcasting company, and we can never talk to Haberstroh without his internet crapping out. Go hire somebody to fix a cable in your house to make sure that when we need you, we can talk to you. But on the stuff that you guys are making, because you guys, I couldn't believe, Mike, I was so delighted to hear, and I don't know how in all the Dom Kang chaos that you guys didn't tell us this story. Are you guys aware that Lewis feels like he got assaulted on the Metrorail on the way over there? First of all, I was stunned that anyone was on the Metrorail from our show, because
there was a shark on that once.
There was an actual shark on the Metrorail.
Yeah, Google it.
Go ahead and Google. There was somebody brought
there was a dead shark.
A dead shark on the Metrorail.
Greg Norman?
What happened was we were on our way to the stadium, and sometimes when you live in South Miami, you can take the Metrorail all the way up. So we're halfway there. Well, Well, whatever, Billy. Don't talk to me.
Why
now.
didn't
Number
this
one, is Lewis okay?
Why didn't
You
this?
all right?
No.
Yeah, he's good.
You
He's
gave
good.
a thumbs
no.
up. You have a microphone.
That's not
Why
number
can't I get
one,
it right?
Mike. That's not number one.
That's not number one.
No, number
I
one
would
is
just
not.
like to speak on
Guys,
behalf
Tony
of
doesn't
Metal
have,
Media.
or no,
It is number
Lewis
one. Are you
doesn't have
okay?
a microphone. To
Lewis
talk
doesn't. I
into.
do.
Tony does. Lewis doesn't.
Just
Correct.
talk to him.
Yeah.
Write that down,
Different
Stu.
I did.
Okay,
It's just
perfect.
Tony's not going to give up that mic.
No, we can. You want to give it?
Confirmed.
Oh, okay.
Shark was on the Metrorail.
So he's on the Metro Mover, right? And we're on our way. We got to get off on the Freedom Tower. That's where the the stop is.
Number one is not is Lewis okay. Number one is where the hell's the content? Because you're about to tell a story about Lewis feeling like he was assaulted.
He was assaulted.
and we have no video.
We have no video of it because if we did, we'd be very rich men. Because you know what? We'd sue the city and we'd have Billy Corbin on the case and this whole thing would be crazy.
Well, why was this
Lot
not
of
told
wheeze.
to me yesterday except off air? Like, why is a content company doing stuff off air more interesting than the stuff that's happening on air?
Litigation, Dan.
As Dom King can't get close to the Jokic brothers and Jokic parties all over Miami and we never
It's
get
Dom
to see him.
Kang. I mean,
I think he could have gotten closer than he did.
I don't think he even tried to get closer than he did.
We tried, but it was halftime, and they started going to the little club underneath. So
Okay, good effort. Meadowlark always chasing its journalistic dreams to the end.
So we're on the Metro Rail, right? Metro Mover, excuse me. All of a sudden, we're about to get to our stop. Juju and I have masks on. Lewis doesn't. He forgot his in the car. So we've been. Juju said he had one. Lewis says, and he had it in his pocket. Whatever. We get to the point where we're supposed to leave, and then all of a sudden a security guard rushes into the Metro Mover. And if you've never seen a Metro Mover, it's essentially like a bus on wheels, like 40 feet in the
People
sky.
in other cities know what a train looks like, Tony.
It's not a train, it's
just
a
a
Metro
Miami
Mover. It's a different story.
Right,
It's
totally
not a train.
different.
I don't know that you totally know what this. Well, I mean, ours feels like a cheapened 1980s Orlando Disney World type
Monorail.
of thing, more than a train. It
Yes.
feels like we were trying to do something that Orlando did at Disney 40 years ago.
Yes, and it didn't work, and it's whatever.
And it's large. It's not. I won't say it's empty because plenty of people use it. But it was supposed to be some flourishing thing that transported people around a city that is hard to be transported around.
But it goes like 20 blocks.
It goes
so
halfway
how much
across
could
the
city and then
possibly have
back.
gone?
The
Yeah.
footprint is like 3 square blocks.
Again,
People drive everywhere.
A failed government effort to build something for millions of dollars that a Shark and Tony and Luis have used because there's the danger that you'll be assaulted.
So the security guard rushes in, starts grabbing Lewis and ripping him out of the door. And we're like, yo, wait, what's going on here? He's like, he doesn't have a mask, he's gotta go. And he's literally dragging Lewis by like the shirt. Lewis is like holding on to the door. Juju and I run in. And again, this is the stop. So the doors are closing. We're about to leave to the next stop. All of a sudden, we're holding the doors open. And they're like, you got to get on the train or get off. And we're like, we can't, the doors. Because they're literally closing in front of us. So we're like trying to hold them open. And like, he's got to go. You got to leave.
All while Amin is dressed as Dom Kang.
Well, no, Amin's not there yet.
I'm waiting for them at the arena. Like, where are you guys?
By yourself.
Wandering around waving
Dom
tiny
Kang.
American flags.
As I'm
only
running in-
Dom Kang.
Running into coaches and players are like, hey, so what are you doing today?
I would have loved video of
Resident
that.
internet commenter Amin would have definitely diffused the situation.
Wait a minute. So you're wandering around meeting all these. Hey, what happened to you? What did Billy just do?
He's got the Metro Mover.
He looked up the Metro Mover map, so he can now confirm how small it is.
When they said a small footprint, I was like, how small are we talking?
Again, 11 blocks. So we finally diffuse the situation. We're like, he's got a mask. Come on, like let him come in. So we get onto the train and we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. We get to the next stop and I realize that was our stop. We should have actually gotten off the train.
You didn't talk about the doors.
No, I did. The doors. We were holding up the doors. Oh, the bro.
No, but no video, no content.
Oh no. There was no video, Dan. We were again afraid for our lives. We didn't know what was gonna happen. We're 30 feet up and we're trying to hold open a door.
If only we had like, I don't know, our video guy and our social media
Not being
guy.
assaulted though.
If we had one of them there.
Dan, you got to spring into action when it happens. You know,
Right.
you can't be.
But you always have to
videotaping.
be taping, I think, you know?
Well, imagine the video guys being assaulted. We don't have the video
I
to be
understand.
taped.
Right.
So the whole thing was because Lewis didn't have a mask on, though.
Correct.
Well, I just don't understand how that space in Florida, the Metro Mover space that night, is the most clearly governed in a lawless state that we have for coronavirus, where only Lewis in a city filled with Danny Martinez is spotted by an overzealous security guard governing that particular space on, again, a monorail where he could have done that to a shark recently for also being maskless.
Billy in the studio is the only person in Florida I've seen wear a mask since I moved here. Like, this is just shocking to me.
That's why again we're in litigation with the city trying to make sure that Lewis gets his fair share.
Why were you targeted? I don't understand why Lewis was targeted. Was it for that awful sneeze on our show 3 shows ago? Because I wanted to do that to you. Chris Cody, I've got one for you. I know that you were eating up the sound from this weekend of Giannis.
I'm not always eating, okay? Like I get that you just want to like lean on that, but all right, I was eating.
Well, the reason that I bring it up is because Giannis Antetokounmpo, I thought of you when he admitted, and it was just with wonder and delight, that he discovered he had been eating Oreos, but no one had introduced him to Oreos in milk. And so someone did, and he gave a 2-minute dissertation where he explained originally when they told him to put it in milk that he just threw a tray in there and ate it like cereal. He's like, this is delicious with a spoon. He just ate. You can imagine this guy with giant hands and giant everything just eating a bowl of Oreo cereal. And he's like, oh my God, this is a wonder and a delight. And now he says it is his late night snack. And oh, to be the blessed exercise regimen of an athlete where that guy eats tubs of Oreo cereal. And it was great. I thought of you specifically, Chris, because what a wonder and delight to learn that in adulthood versus in childhood.
I kind of feel like I'm going to get everyone angry at me right now. I kind of prefer Oreos without the milk.
Oh,
like I'm not prepared to go out there and say that it's bad with the dunking of the milk, but I just prefer it softens it. I like the crunch of an Oreo, so if you give me the option, I'm just gonna take it without the milk.
You break the halves apart.
Yeah,
You
Chris,
the cream heavy bit and then the one without.
Like from Rounders, where he's like trying to make
split?
a read.
You don't split?
I don't split.
Why,
no.
do you split them? I mean, you split them every time?
You
gotta
just
bite into
I
it.
generally just throw the whole thing in my mouth, one biter.
I will say this.
A dry Oreo.
Yeah.
The entire row, just simultaneously.
Like a pelican, you eat them like a pelican.
The whole row.
The way a UFO
Double
would enter my
stuffed.
mouth,
Yes.
like sideways.
I will side with Chris and tell you when I do use milk with my Oreos, it's a very light dip. I will not keep. I don't want it soggy. I want my Oreo to have a little
And then
crunch.
it's
to
messy,
it.
and then like the from when you're going from the glass to your mouth, there's some drippage. It's
It
just,
can't be too soft. You got to be careful. You can't make it all too soft.
It's like cereal. Cereal, there's like a small window of time. You got to eat this now because if you let it sit.
But Giannis was the way he was eating it with a spoon and a bowl. That is how he is eating drenched Oreos, soggy Oreos.
The chocolate chip itself is just a vessel for the cream and the milk. Standalone without cream.
Oh no, it's
just
good.
a crap cookie.
You don't do that.
It's
No.
terrible
It's
cookie.
a good cookie. It's a fine cookie.
No,
Even
no,
without the cream, it's delicious.
Bad tasting chocolate. Bad cookie.
Wow,
Bad cookie.
that's a shocking take, but I think Mike's also right. I
No.
think the
No, he's
Oreo
wrong.
by
He's not right.
itself, I
Super
think
sour. It's
Sour.
Yeah, it's not at all sweet. It's just like the only point of this is like it's just a contrast the milk and the cream, and altogether it makes sense. But dry, not spread apart where you lick the cream first and just going in it dry. No,
You're
thank you.
Oroing wrong.
You are, man.
You're
Not
Oroing
wrong.
You're Oroing wrong.
Oreoing.
Oreo.
Are you saying the shell's no good?
Are you
Is that
wrong
the
or Oreo
Shell
right
is just
cookie?
a vessel for everything else. Like the whole profile of the Oreo cookie works
Right.
when you take all the pieces, milk, cream, and cookie.
Mashed together.
Yes,
Right.
but if you take one of the variables out
They're
of it,
all three
you're
of
just
them alone.
amplifying
They're
the-
not.
the
They're not.
disappointing taste.
They need to be a team. The three of them.
I will tell you the cookie that has the best shell. I don't agree with Mike. First off,
No,
But
you have to agree with Mike.
I don't have to agree with Mike.
This is the
No.
grounds. Listen, I'm going to put it to you this way, and this is why you're going to have to agree with Mike.
Okay.
If I sold you Oreos without the cream, you would not buy that as cookies.
Oh, hell no, yeah.
Probably not.
And so that's
I
what
wouldn't do
Mike's
that as a
saying.
grid of death punishment.
That's what-
Okay, but if I happen
What?
to pick one apart, I just eat the shell. I'm not going to be that disappointed.
No, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying as a cookie, as a standalone cookie, it's a crappy cookie, and he's not wrong. The cream is what makes that cookie.
All right, but there are some cookies where if you pull them apart, like a Nutter Butter, if you take the Nutter Butter and you pull it apart and just eat the shell, it is absolutely
That cream
delicious.
is nothing without like that cream by itself. You think that cream by itself
No,
is a
it's
delightful?
together.
Yes.
No, but I'm
No.
saying
There
this
was a
is
tub of
no.
Oreo cream.
I'm saying this is a
No,
50-50 pie chart.
I'm
Don't you
with
dare
you.
disrespect
You
the
often will
cookie.
lick the cream off the Oreo.
Never
and
do that.
No?
No. I'm with you, Chris, because you can lick the cream, yes. But Mike's talking about a tub of that cream.
get it outta
That's
here.
gross. That's just too much. You need the cookie. It needs the cookie in order
50-50
to
pie chart.
That
They need
contrast.
each other.
They
You're right.
both make same salaries in this marriage.
If I've just put solely the cookie, the cream in a tub, and milk on the side, you're gonna go probably cream first, then milk, and then the last pick always
Cream's
would be
last.
the cookie.
Cream's last for
What?
me.
The
Okay.
cream is the cookie.
Mike, I will agree with you that the cookie. Why are you? You don't have to bash the cookie. It could be a
That's
lesser.
what he's doing. See, he's doing. You're right. You're
Look,
bashing the
Oreo-
cookie for no reason.
Why are you bashing the cream? The Oreo cookie in
I'm
itself is a gimmick.
I'm not bashing the cream.
It's
I'm
a
getting
gimmick.
defensive because you're coming at the cookie, so I'm just attacking
Cookie
the cream,
sucks.
even though I don't really hate the
Oreo
cream that
cookie
much.
sucks.
You put me in a spot here where I'm attacking the cream. I don't want to attack the cream. I love
see-
the cream.
I see what's happening here. So Mike likes the white cream, but
don't
dislikes
you put that on me.
the black
you're
cookie.
not gonna bring
Oh,
race into everything.
I didn't bring up
But
race.
you're-
I'm just
you're
clarifying.
bringing race into
But
I'm clarifying.
I will tell you, the golden Oreos, superior cookie.
How about that? Yeah.
Superior
No.
cookie, but worse Oreo. But worse Oreo.
Precisely, because it's the whole experience. Worse Oreo experience, but if I'm just eating a cookie without milk and I'm just going nom, I'm just nom.
So you like a cookie experience society that's devoid of the darker cookie.
I know what you
I'm just-
want me to do right now
I'm
with
not
you.
want you to do
Let me
anything.
tell you something, Amino
Clarifying.
Hassan. Despite the fact that you're trying to lay this bear trap out for me, I won't shy away from it. The white Oreo cookie is better than the black Oreo cookie.
Oh shit!
As a standalone Oreo
Mike,
experience.
you gotta take
However,
that- you gotta take
when we
that
bring milk into the equation and you have the whole ensemble,
More white.
then I will absolutely
What color is milk,
say
huh?
the black and white
More
Oreo is
white.
the best way.
What about the reverse Oreo? You ever had the reverse Oreo?
No, get that out of
Oh,
here. I
yeah.
don't like any of those. Although the dulce de leche Oreo is pretty
Birthday
good.
cake, tremendous.
How do we feel about the thin?
You like
No.
all the
I
white
like-
that surrounds the Oreo, but not the
The
black.
thin's a little underrated.
You want to
of
know
the
how
black.
It's
savage
too
I am
thin.
about my
It's too
Oreo
thin.
experience? The double mega stuffed, the most possible cream in my Oreo.
No, get
That's
that out
what I
here.
go to.
No.
Yeah.
You mean normally
more,
stuffed. Normally
you
stuffed.
like more of the white stuff and
Yeah.
less of
Yeah.
the black
Yeah,
stuff.
Amino
in-
Hassan, formerly of ESPN. I do. I like more of the white stuff than the black stuff in my Oreo experience. Sue me. It tastes a lot more yummy.
I am going to sue you. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that to court with Carl Douglas.
I feel like we can meet in the middle here. I don't like what's happening here.
Carl's probably
Again,
Dude,
I
meet me in
love
the cream center.
everything's
It's
political now.
It's such a good cookie, and we're tearing it apart.
That's what you do with it.
We're
You tear it
divided.
apart because it's an
We're
inferior
divided.
cookie.
Oh, it's inferior.
Yeah,
It's
an
inferior.
cookie.
Don't
Yeah.
sleep on the thins,
Yeah.
by the way. You eat like 7 of those
Thins
things.
are
It's just
terrible.
nah,
No,
but
no,
it's
no.
a mind game. You can eat like 12 of them, and it just feels like you've eaten 4.
First off, they're good as is. The standard Oreo is fantastic, okay? The
No, it needs
double
milk.
stuffed mega is fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm with
right.
Mike.
Wait,
if I have a choice to go
wait.
fatter or thinner, I'm going fatter
Hold
every
on,
time.
Stugotz, just stop for a second.
What happened?
Whittingham, what did you just say to me? What did you just whisper in my ear as just marveling and just beholding the marvelous creature that is Stugotz that doesn't want to just be in the conversation that we're in, presently working, but showed me his computer.
It's important.
Wait till you guys hear what's on his computer here. That Stugotz is waving his computer at me as we're talking about Oreos, and an impassioned discussion, argument has broken out. What, Chris Whittingham, did you just say into my ears?
Stugotz's batting average with showing you his computer has to be in the 100s. Because he showed you, and he's waiting for the day that you go, wow, holy shit, Stugotz, that's incredible. And it's never coming. Stugotz, it's never coming. And you had such an unsatisfied look on your face when he's breaking the segment to hold up his computer at a tilt.
So we're working here. Okay?
I kept talking while I was doing
and
it.
And the construct, the formula.
broke down the thins and the
will you
fatties
shut
and-
up for a second. And the formula of our show is some form of, hey, I'm trying to work here.
Yeah.
So the Oreos conversation that I thought was going just fine. I thought we were enjoying each other. We were arguing. It was spirited. Mike Ryan said an outlandish
I wasn't
thing,
enjoying
but
it.
was also correct.
What was outlandish?
Well, I think most people would say that the Oreo cookie itself by itself, it just has a very high Q rating. So when you disparage it, even with context and nuance of separating it from the cream, very few people would say that's a bad cookie, but I agree with you. You place it against other cookies, it's a very pedestrian cookie.
Thank you for hearing me.
But during this,
because I wasn't tearing apart I love the entire Oreo experience.
That doesn't sound like what
That's like saying you eat Lucky Charms without the marshmallows.
Experiences.
feel like you had some economic anxiety that you were going through.
During this, while everyone was talking, Stugotz was waving his computer at me. Go ahead and tell everyone, including these people here, what you were waving at me maniacally, trying to get me to stop the segment we're in so we could do whatever it is you were doing.
Quarterback Josh Norman has 7 forced fumbles this season. That ranks second for the 49ers in a single season since 1994. Roy Barker, Barkey, had 8 in 96, and Ahmad Brooks had 5 in 2009. The only reason I showed it to you is because Sunday night we were doing the postgame show, and you seemed obsessed with the fact that Josh Norman is doing nothing except running around football fields trying to poke the ball loose from people. And that's it. And then someone wrote GOAT, and I wanted to respond. He's been the worst cornerback in football this year. And so I was just sharing it with my friend. I mean, you know, it was interesting to you. You brought it up. You brought it to my attention, and I wanted to pay you back. And I did. During an Oreo segment.
7 forced fumbles.
I know. How about that? That's pretty
Reading
good,
a tweet.
right?
Reading a tweet that's that long requires like a squint and like a
During the segment,
yeah, like
he's
20
just-
seconds of
he's
reading.
he wanted me to read all of that. He wanted me just
At a tilt.
actively playing defense against us working.
I'm really big into the multiverse, so I like thinking about the alternate reality where Stugotz doesn't show you that, but is burnt up inside because he has this information to share.
I have to show it to someone. Yeah.
And he has no one to share it with. Goes home, drowns his sorrows in a fifth of vodka.
The thing about that's funny is that he could have shared it with me, and we could have shared a joyous moment at any other time, but the one that he chose. He chose.
But I'm trying to stay in the moment, Dan. It's here. It's here now.
I know, but if you were paying it, you didn't know until I told you yesterday that he was a puncher of footballs, and today you've discovered it in a tweet verifying something that you did not know yesterday. Now you're pleased with your research and your reporting.
Well, I was letting you know that your research and reporting was correct.
He's just spent the whole season punching people.
So as a reminder, you guys remember the bit about Stugotz's brain, just having a lot of Stugotz in there? Right now, there was a Stugotz who had that tweet on a piece of paper, rushing past all the other Stugotzes, the Oreo Stugotz.
The factory of Stugotz.
Breaking news, guys.
Look, Dan, this thing you were talking about.
One of them's like, no, don't tell Dan. This is not a good time. Like, no, we got to tell him. This is very important.
Never, always a good time.
They put the keys in, the nuclear keys, turn them at the same time, break open the codes.
There was definitely a filibuster among the Stugotzes that got overridden.
The rest of the Stugotzes were yelling no, but as with this Stugotz, the one who sits next to me every day, this one was running in with a
Slow
card,
motion.
ignoring them, saying, you know when's the best time to share with my friend Dan?
Which is funny because there was the one Stugotz on the mic talking.
Just showing him, distracting him.
It's not talking though. It's making certain noises, pretending to listen. This is my life with him. Like my guess is Stugotz has listened to 9% of this show.
That's high. I mean,
and that he spends the rest of the time nodding, laughing, and pretending that he's paying attention or understands. Is that number high or low, Mike?
Oh, it's probably on the money. 9% of the time. I would say I was just marveling at how much I enjoy the three of you together. You have a nice rapport. Not unlike an Oreo cookie. You got the milk over there in Stugotz. You got the creamy filling with Dan.
Nah, Dan's the cookie.
I'm the creamy filling. There's a fat joke
the other
in there
part.
somewhere.
Yeah.
7 forced fumbles.
You don't want to park your car in this cookie's neighborhood.
Stugotz, I wish to be called out, not that the audience needs any provocation on this front other than me opening my big fat mouth when I am wrong, when I am inconsistent, when I do some of the stuff that I make fun of you for and Colin Cowherd for, which is not remembering the take that you had 4 weeks ago and how different it is from the take it is that you have today. But I just reached out by DM to a local Miami Dolphins fan named Pablo who believes that I have been the guy saying the things about
Don't
Tua.
reach out to Pablo.
I don't know anything else about Pablo. There are many Pablos in South Florida, not as many Danny
I know
Williams.
which Pablo that you're talking about.
What'd you say to
This
Pablo?
particular Pablo was giving you the business.
This guy is a subtweet samurai.
Okay, well, but he is someone that we follow as a show, and we like to support the people who support us, even if they're critical.
I do not want to endorse any of Pablo's behavior. He's just a fan of the show, and I appreciate the support. I know nothing else about him.
I don't know if this is the same Pablo that we're talking
No,
about.
if it's Dolphins and Pablo and he's going at you, I know exactly which Pablo.
Okay, and I'd like to know where I'm being inconsistent on my Tua take, because all I've tried, I think, this is my perspective. You tell me if I'm wrong. For the 15 healthy games that he's played over 2 years, I've said I don't know how to factor in how to do some of the math on this, given the skill position limits that they've had before Waddle and given the offensive line problems that are almost historic in terms of allowing hurries.
What is Pablo saying? Should we get him on the phone?
That I have been very critical of Tua, or that every Monday all I was saying is that Tua's not the answer, when I was saying that Tua hasn't looked special, and now Dan Orlovsky is on television saying he looks like Drew Brees. That he is doing Drew Brees-esque when it comes to the accuracy, the decision-making, how quickly Tua is getting the football out, because he has to, at least in part, and how hard it is to learn some of this stuff over 15 games, 2 seasons, when everything is moving that fast and you're coming back from injury and your offensive line isn't blocking and Gaskin is your running back.
You know exactly where I stand on Tua. I love him like a son.
Mm-hmm.
I hope she never listens to this. I love him more than my actual daughter,
Wow.
Julia. Yeah, I think he's got such a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
We should all
kid.
aspire to be Tua.
Yeah.
But
You love him more than his mother loves him.
Yes,
Tua's
yes,
mother loves
yes.
him.
I love him so much he may have to get a restraining order. I'm telling you that right now. But Dolphin fans are batshit crazy when it comes to Tua, and an absence of praise is perceived as being critical when it comes to him.
I have a stat here from Field Yates that would support Pablo and give him more ammunition against Dan.
Let's go. Well, it's
Start
against.
of the day.
I
Start
love
of
Pablo.
The day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Again, courtesy of Field Yates, at Field Yates on Twitter. Tua completed 27 of 33, 81.8% of his passes on Sunday, making him just the fourth quarterback in NFL history to complete at least 80% of his passes in back-to-back games with at least 30 attempts. Tua has now completed 70.5% of his passes this season, second in the NFL.
And I had said, and maybe this is the place, Mike, that people are willing to come after me on, and I think this part is fair. I've called the race on him and Herbert. I did.
Premature.
And Tua's taking a step forward this year, and Herbert's taking a step back.
Herbert's still his stats are still pretty good. It's just people have a perception of him that's probably more glowing than it actually is.
Because, and I'll tell you, to the
hair,
that helps. It also, but Stugotz, I'm not kidding you when I tell you, in terms of when we do some of this analysis on who's a game manager, who looks the part. Never mind all the Pro Football Focus numbers, just who drops back to pass, and you're like, whoa. Herbert on accuracy, arm strength, and throwing the ball downfield last year looked like somebody who was doing it differently behind a different offensive line, and that's part of the measurements.
Yes.
It's like to be able to stand back there for a second and find Mike Williams as your second option versus what Tua's been doing, which is let me throw it 3 yards behind the line here in Jacksonville or against Jacksonville in London, throw it into the end zone to Waddle because we can't. We're totally constipated, and I don't have enough help, and I'm injured.
Those are conventional stats, and I can understand why you would gravitate to it. But I do think that the stats I pointed out yesterday are far more impressive, like average points added. from the quarterback position since his healthy return. I use that in air quotes because I still think he's dealing with injuries. He's the best quarterback in the league. Now in that top 10 since week 7, he also has the fewest air yards per attempt, but he's at 6.5 now, and he is stretching the field a little bit more, and expected points added takes into account the difficulty of throws.
And when you're talking, maybe that's the place that's fair criticism of me. I'm asking you guys, like, where have I gotten this wrong? Where I don't want to be revisionist in my analysis of this. I feel like while watching this, I've been marveling at, like, man, we've sped up all this stuff at this position. It's a really hard position to play. Everything's moving really fast out there. Learning from college to pros when you're not trying to rehab an injury. We should probably get more than 15 starts before making an assessment on this. But Herbert sped up the curve when he comes out, and it's like, wait a minute. He doesn't look at all like Justin Fields does out there. The first year when he's coming out there, he doesn't look at all like Trevor Lawrence looks out there. He doesn't look at all like Trey Lance looks out there.
He really sped up the curve, but the guy who's really responsible for it, I think, is Patrick Mahomes. Like, to come out the way Patrick Mahomes
he waited
came
3
out.
years, Stugotz. He waited behind
you're right.
Alex Smith. That's
Right. Right.
Patrick Mahomes waited and did it the traditional way of you learn. We have sped up all of this so that it needs to be done in 14 games or you're bust.
Right.
Oh, and furthermore, it's so hyperventilating both ways that if Keyshawn Johnson misses a month of games, like clearly he has when it comes to the Dolphins, and I understand why. They've been a regional team, not a national team, and Tua is the only thing that seems to make them a more national team. I understand how Keyshawn Johnson, if he's 3 weeks late to the analysis, would sound like, oh, you haven't been watching. You're saying he's still a bad quarterback. You still think he's game managing out there. That's not what he's been doing the last 3 weeks. And that offense is still super limited. Like, if the evolution of this quarterback is, when I mean in terms of talent and blocking for him and allowing hurries, but Arlovsky's watching this and he's saying, oh, wait a minute. That's the highest compliments to Stugotz is Breeze-esque accuracy, because
yes,
that will help you in places where perhaps you don't move around as well as Kyler Murray and, you know, Lamar Jackson. If you're saying Breeze-esque accuracy, what you're saying is strongest, highest in the history of the position.
Brady would be a higher compliment, but you're right. I mean, it's a great compliment to throw it to him when we're sitting here questioning him, and you have guys saying, "Hey, this is Breeze-like."
But this is 4 games of difference on and on the same network.
4 games against bad teams. We should point out.
Well, to be a pocket passer at that height, he's listed at 6'1", but he's on the shorter side. To be a pocket passer and not move the pocket, you have to be deathly accurate. You have to be. That's what made Drew Brees like an alien. His ability to still scan the field over his offensive line and be incredibly accurate. Baker Mayfield always misses high when he's in the pocket. That's all his interceptions. They're high. It's because he can't see over his offensive line unless he rolls a pocket. Tua is a bit more statuesque than Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, and even Baker Mayfield. He hangs in the pocket, so he has to be accurate. And if he's being compared to Drew Brees, that is tremendous.
The part that I'm most interested in is, and please, if you want at any point, tell me, and I don't need to encourage you guys to do this, but point out wherever it is I've been inconsistent or have my hypocrisies or where it is that I've flatly been wrong.
Is that fair, though? Like, he's also been inconsistent, right?
Well, the part that I want to talk to you about, though, because this part has been something that I just didn't expect to happen, how quickly it's happened, where it's like, hey, get in the game and hurry up and figure it out. You're a bust in 15 games. You're a first-round pick. I know the money's changed at this position. You're not healthy. Your fingers hurt. Your hips hurt. You got to get back from rehab. Your offensive line is allowing a lot of hurries. Devontae Parker might not be that good, but be good in 15 games or you're out of here because Justin Herbert was good in 5 games. Let's go.
But no one's making anyone write people off in 15 games. You can just be patient. It's just people are doing it.
It's just a new standard, but that's how we're doing it now.
But you can control what you say. You can just not say, you know what, let's wait and see.
You're talking about the analysts, and I'm with you, but I mean, his own front office seems to be impatient by their very public pursuit of another quarterback.
And a quarterback that I think most people would still assess, just if we're talking about just physical skills, what he's done at the position, I think most people are still taking Deshaun Watson. But the part that I wanted to talk to you about, Mike, because I think that your Browns Baker Mayfield coverage has been afflicted with it, and it's something that just simply happens as all of this as you've watched 20 years of football, and you as a Cleveland Brown fan or a Miami Dolphin fan have seen at that position, have tried to talk yourself into so many Chad Henneys and AJ Feelys, and you've seen these glimpses in here and there, and then a quarterback like Baker Mayfield shows up, or Tua shows up, and the amount of hope and expectation that is placed on him, this is what the burden of being a franchise quarterback is. This is why it's hard for young people to not get ruined by the pressure of breaking at that position. Is you add to the stakes and everything else. Oh, look at Justin Herbert playing out there on a white stallion. And look at Joe Burrow throwing the ball way downfield to Jamar Chase. And you're like, Tua, you need to be doing that right now with Waddle right now. Waddle, get in the sport with men, get in there, and from game one, beat Jamar Chase, because we've sped up on our analysis. We've locked in all our hope, all our fantasy dreams, everything else. Be great right now. You bust in 15 games, or get him out here for an alleged sexual predator.
Yeah, it's actually kind of why I know you're trying to make the argument for impatience, but I've been like patient to a fault with Baker Mayfield, because unlike Tua, like he definitely turned the franchise around. It's irrefutable that he did. They won one game. Yes, he did.
No, he did. But here's the problem. You have to make these decisions inside of like 3 or 4 years, because everyone is looking for that quarterback at a lesser salary, and then you have to make the decision.
So now it's a year and a half, though. On Tua, it felt like the decision was being made before a full season of sample size.
Yeah, but Baker the team had one win in 2 seasons. Baker shows up, and last year they win a road playoff game and go to the divisional round of the playoffs while he is playing well. Like, I've seen it with Baker, and I am not in a hurry, because I know for 20 years I was searching for someone to be merely as good as him. And what he is flawed, a ceiling that's a lot lower than probably I anticipated, but still, irrefutably, undeniably, the best quarterback I've had since returning to the NFL.
All of your analysis, though, is plagued, is it not, by the
1000%.
scars and memories of pouring that into Kelly Holcomb.
Right. So I'm not in a rush to push him out the door.
This is the same thing that Tua fans are doing.
100%.
Correct.
Only I have a bit more success when it comes to Baker, because he actually made it to the playoffs, and there's a longer sample. And it's also probably damning on Baker that this is now year 4, and I'm still like, is this the guy? Because he turned the franchise around to the point that they're on the precipice of being a good team. They have the pieces. I think everybody can look at their talent and be like, why is this team 6-6? Now, is he good enough? He's certainly turned it around, but can he get you to that next phase? And that's why you're looking at guys like Russell Wilson, who coincidentally can't get a first down anymore.
Right.
And being like, that's a clear and obvious upgrade.
But sometimes good is good enough, right? Sometimes just being good is good enough. I'm 2 weeks removed from praying that Mike White would be the next franchise quarterback for the Jets. Like, I would take Tua right now to be my quarterback.
Jack Goff made a Super Bowl.
It plagues the analysis, though, Mike, in a way that is...
Jared Goff.
I'm wearing it, though. It plagued my analysis for years. I'm being open and honest with you. I'm not in a hurry to push Baker Mayfield out. I need to know what my options are to upgrade.
But it plagues the analysis. All this stuff, this pressurized, hope-filled stuff, and the hyperventilation and the speed with which the analysis comes, and that we need a result that's determinative. It not only plagues the front end, it plagues the back end, as you see Cam Newton appearing physically spent at 32, and it takes a month with a pin in his finger for you to say, oh, Russell Wilson ain't all that. A month with a pin in his finger and his throwing hand.
By the way, Cam, like a week ago, everyone was like, he's finally healthy again. He's back.
It is amazing to watch.
He was like, he's back.
He was like that. He announced
Cam was, yeah. With Russell, it's been weird, though, because he was bad, back half of last season. He wasn't very good. He got off to a great start. He was not
Stugotz,
good towards the end.
Honestly, when I'm watching this Russell Wilson broken physically, I'm literally thinking about the conversations he must be having with his wife, the most honest conversations about trying to get out of there, and whether he was like, man, this team blows right now. I need out.
Like, his agent gave you 14, put his name to it.
But what I'm saying is, for Russell Wilson to go to those lengths, for Russell Wilson, management guy, Seattle guy, never said anything controversial other than vitamin water cures concussions. For Russell Wilson to be the guy who comes out and says, I need a trade out of here, I'd love the honest conversations there to know, what did he see? Did he see this thing, like looking around and be like, wait a minute, everyone's gone now. Seattle stinks. If I don't carry this thing and I'm perfectly healthy because they haven't blocked for me in 3 seasons, they're going to wreck the end of my career. Like, I'm wondering whether Russell Wilson saw it from the inside. I got to get out of here, man. Pete Carroll's not going to help me at the end. He's going to look like an old guy chewing gum and throwing his flip phone on the field.
I think the other thing, too, to think about Russell Wilson, I'd be interested to see like who has this answer is the offense that is supposed to let Russ cook has never been there. Like they've always tried to establish the run and with 5 different backs that aren't really that good. Chris Carson got hurt. He's out for the year. Like they're trying to establish the run with nobody, and they're supposed to be letting him cook. And when he does, he has that streak where he had last season. We were in like 7 games where he was throwing like 10 touchdowns and no picks. The matter of fact is the offensive scheme, I think.
Well, I would tend to believe you, right? I think what's happening here is very clearly the injury to the throwing hand, but he has a lot of explanations. And unlike Baker Mayfield and unlike Tua and unlike a lot of the other quarterbacks that are on that fringe right now, because the last month you're like, wow, this is like a fringe quarterback.
They're 3-8.
Yeah,
They're 3-8. Think about that.
They're bad, but you've seen him do it. He's missing open guys. He's not completing 5-yard
He's throwing
routes.
interceptions in the end zone to end games when you're used to him winning those games, close games, always in close games. Then the most feared thing in the sport for 2 or 3 of those years was here's Russell Wilson coming down the field at the end of a close game again.
Like we don't need the all-22 and Dan Orlovsky pointing a pen to the video. We see on the broadcast DK Metcalf wide open.
Yeah.
We see Russell Wilson being the only person you could possibly blame for plays going sideways right now, and it has to be the injury.
He has 12 touchdowns and 3 interceptions with a pin in his finger. I mean, I'm just pointing that out.
And he's struggling to move the ball, though.
I know he is.
There was a 99-yard drive before that interception on the 2-point conversion, too.
Yes.
So it's like,
He
that's where
led
you
them
see
on
the
that
glimpse
drive.
of that,
Yes.
where it's like, oh, wow. And then he looked the safety off. He throws a touchdown for 30 yards, and then he throws a pick to end the game. And you're like, oh.
And on the 2-point conversion, DK Metcalf is waving his arms around like a madman because Russell doesn't see it.
How do you miss him? I mean,
are we apologizing to Pablo or not?
No.
Oh.
We are. We haven't done enough into a praise, and we should because we're Miamians, and that's what you do down here to avoid the Pablos and your Menchies.
Who you love, not Pablo, but
I love Tua.
He's the
Tua
best
so
quarterback
much.
they've had since Marino. I mean, is he not?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
He's the
this-
most handsome too.
Thank you, says
Better than
Stugotz.
Pennington
I
for
don't
a
know
season?
why. I don't know
mean,
why you're getting thank yous. I don't know why it is Stugotz says.
We're not appreciating Tua enough. That's what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what we're not appreciating enough because you mentioned the Seattle-Washington game. All the graphics there are in football. I love these cartoon figures of guys with muscles that come up when touchdowns are scored. Something that we're not making enough fun of, something that really needs more attention from everybody is the general weirdness when Washington scores a touchdown and all of the graphics come up, and instead of an emblem of anything, all they can put up is football team. Football team keeps coming up all over the place. Just generic football team. That they still haven't figured this out. That this Native American problem that has plagued the franchise.
I like the football team.
Daniel Snyder has never changed the name. Said he would never change the name. Then he gets into a scandal, toxic workplace. He's like, okay, never mind. We'll change the name. And now, still 2 years later, what keeps coming up because they didn't secure all of the names and they didn't go to GoDaddy, and so people tried to squat on Washington names. They remain in the graphic. It's spinning toward you. Football team. Football. It's like generic player in the video games.
I like football team. It's better than generic football team name like Defenders or Guardians.
There's only one
or
football
Generals.
team, right?
No, there aren't. There are 32 football
No,
teams.
but there's only one football
there are
team.
32 football teams.
Let's stop normalizing football team. This thing needs to change immediately.
Yes,
Do
it's
not normalize.
The
It's
football team is a playoff team right
American
now. I mean.
sports city nickname.
Give me a name better than football
Playoff team. Playoff team.
Someone should do that.
That would be a
someone
good
has
name.
to do that.
I would go. Give me one generic sports name better than football team, and I'll concede.
Washington Pigskins.
No, I don't.
You
I
can
think
still
you
call them the Skins.
I don't like the
avoid-
Pigskins.
And you have the
avoid
Hogs.
Any reference to the old name?
So when the controversy first happened and said they had to change the name, I was working radio with Zach Harper, and we opened up the phone lines and say, you tell us what you think the name should be. And this guy calls in and says they should keep the name the same. And we're like, here we go. He's one of these guys who's going to say, oh, tradition or whatever. And he says, no. Here's what you do. You change the mascot to a potato. And now you can be Redskins because we're not talking about it like a slur. We're talking about potatoes. And I said, you know what? You bested me, caller. I thought you would be ignorant, but in fact,
This
you
move
turned
is-
out to be genius.
This move has actually been done with teams that call themselves the Warriors. the slight rebrand, like Warriors becomes this like mythical Greek god thing in the Golden State logo when it was like something different.
It was, the original. By the way, if you want to really laugh, look at NBA logos from like the 50s and 60s. Holy hell.
Just racist.
I mean, and just terrifying. What was the one? First of all, the Warriors original logo is just super racist. I mean,
Syracuse also did this too. All right, we'll take out men.
Orange.
Yes, they took out the
St. John's, the Red Storm.
Yeah.
So it's not. We've seen it happen. It's not that ridiculous.
But a potato.
It's
like what?
It's a
what
bit of a
about
stretch, but it works.
Potato invokes like tough football teams.
Have you not seen like with the fighting asparagus and like the Brussels? You got to just make it mad, like those minor league
An
logos.
angry potato.
Yeah.
An angry red
Angry
potato.
potato,
So me
yes.
taking an accidental front selfie when I'm sunburned. That's what you want their logo to be.
You give some arms, and the arms are kind of like running, and they're really cut.
Yeah, like there's if you have a minor league baseball team, you don't call them the Raccoons, you call them the Trash Pandas, and you move on. Yeah.
Put it on the poll game at LeBatard Show. Can you make a potato a good mascot by simply making it look mean? Pau Gasol, are you ready? I've got 10 minutes. I've been allowed 10 minutes. It's About the Journey is on Prime Video November 12th, and I've always thought this guy is hugely interesting, but concealed because he doesn't trust the media, and he's got to be careful with his words and can't show everybody his interesting life hanging out with opera stars. So he managed to come through the Los Angeles labyrinth, all of the tabloids, the fame. Pau Gasol, champion, joins us now. Why are you telling us, and thank you for joining us, why are you telling us this story? I wouldn't have imagined that you would be that interested in something like this.
Thank you for having me, first of all. And I just wanted to, it was something that started once I suffered my second fracture in my navicular up in Portland. It started with the desire, I like to show, it wasn't just the let's capture the rehab process. It was more like, how do you deal with hardship? How do you deal with uncertainty? And what are you going to do with it? And it was it was challenging for me at that time, emotionally and physically to deal with that. And I said, I want to capture it. Also, as I'm also one of my concerns and something that I wanted to show was how am I going to transition? I think I want to show the transition phase and preparation phase from such a special and unique chapter in my life, which is like NBA career, into the next one. And the whole process of it. And after such a successful career. So and how I dealt with it, and we dealt with it as a family, which I just wanted to show, some of the principles and values that have dictated my life, how I do things, and show more of a human side, because a lot of people see, the news here, the news there, the image, the surface, but not what's really in it. And I think the documentary shows that, I think, really well, and I'm extremely proud and happy of how everything turned out, and very emotional, and because we went through not just the uncertainty of the recovery, but the uncertainty of life with the pandemic and many other things that happened.
I imagine, and I don't know for sure, but if this is what I think it is, because I don't know that I would call you guarded, but I don't know that we've been able to look inside your life either as a famous person for a long time who was winning championships in sports. But this transition is particularly hard for anyone. Like, I think you uniquely prepared for it, and it's still hard to bury your identity as a guy for 20 years who's been great at sports, and then you look around and you're like, oh, it's over. That's it? Now I got to get back to my family. That's it. It's done.
Well, that's part of it. You cannot fall in love with a certain identity. You should look at yourself inside and understand who you are as a person. The titles or professions, they last only for so long. They have an expiration date, but you're still you. So you cannot fall in love with, I'm just an NBA player, or because once that is over, then who are you? Then that's where you get into that crisis, or a specific title, or with a specific show or career. So it's meant to share also how I approach that and how I prepare for that and how an NBA has been such a huge part of my career and playing basketball. I played basketball since I was 6 years old. And it's been a big part of my life and I'm thankful for it. But life goes on and that part of my life, it's over. And now it's what can I do with everything that I've experienced and I've gained through that time in order to implement it into the next chapter, into the next ventures, into the next goals. And that's part of how I approach this and what I'm trying to share.
And nothing will be like it. Like, that going in. You have an awareness. Everything you do from now on may be its own kind of fulfilling, but it will never match what the last 20 years of your life have been.
Without question. It won't. It'll be different. And different, it's fine. It's kind of like going through different stages and ages in life. The 20s are great. 30s are great. But 40s are great. And you have to enjoy your 40s. You have to enjoy every stage and every step of the way. You can't get stuck into, I wish I was 35 or 29 because I was so athletic and, I had so much energy and, yeah, that was fine, but that was just one part of your life. Now let's focus on enjoying the present. Let's focus on enjoying what's in front of us. And that's just also how, the things, again, how I live my life. And so that's what the values that I try to share in within the documentary.
It's about the journey on Prime Video, November 12th. Lightheartedly, I want to know the best, most memorable family fight you ever had, any point in childhood with your brother, that tree trunk brother of yours, Marc Gasol. I imagine that he kicked your ass and he dragged you all over the floor just because look at him. How did that work? Did you drag him or did he drag you?
No, he definitely dragged me. Even though we were 4.5 years apart, he's obviously always been the bigger guy, not height-wise, but he's always been wider and stronger. So, and I've always been like thin and lean, and a couple of because I always pushed Marc. I always wanted Marc to first to know that I'm the old brother, I'm the big brother, and you don't mess with the big brother, but also to motivate him. And to see how he would react and push him to be better.
All right, so give us the story where you got your ass kicked because you did that. You pushed him to be better, and he got fed up.
He didn't care about your reminders of older brother, by the way.
He didn't care you were the older brother.
Yeah, he didn't care. No, well, I remember once that we got tangled up, and I lost balance and I fell on my butt. And he kind of caught himself like, oh, geez, I just put my big brother on the ground. And I don't know how old we were. I don't know if we were like 12 and he was 7 or something like that, or I was 10, he was 5. I don't know. But I remember a couple things where he would, physically be a problem at a young age. But again,
because he's a brute, because he's crazy. The two of you, I can't even imagine how unusual you were as two. That's an unusual childhood, is it not? To be two guys in the same house who grow up to be people who always need new shower heads or different beds, or because it's not the most normal thing in the world for two people to be 7-footers like that.
No, it's true. No, you have to talk to my parents about that, how that was like, and the challenges and how we ate, because we ate a lot too, and you had to buy a lot of extra food to feed these big guys or taller guys. But yeah, it was a challenge, and we played one-on-ones. You had, in the national team, especially in the summers when we got together, and people would just sit and watch because we just beat each other up. And it would end up someone bleeding at the end of the one-on-one. Busted lip or something, because we would go hard. We would go hard at it. I think in the docuseries, Shane talks about that. How every time we played against each other, it was great, but we went at each other and we wanted to win. So that's also part of our nature, and I think part of it why we've been so successful individually, but together mainly, because I think that's where, as a family, we two brothers that have accomplished so much in basketball and outside. That's what we're trying to do. It's not just about the basketball; it's about what you do with it outside of it. It's been great.
It's about the journey. Prime Video, November 12th. Pau Gasol with us right now. Pau, I don't think well, for those who don't know, Kobe Bryant, one of your closest friends, and so I am wondering, what do you miss most about Kobe? What do you miss about Kobe?
So much. His presence, knowing that that I could always reach out and see him or call him and talk to him on the phone and get advice. Knowing that he's there for his wife and daughters. That's what I miss the most, for his family. That's what pains me, because it's not just about me as a friend. It's about him as a father, him as a husband, him as a brother, him as a son. That's what I miss the most.
Pau, thank you for being on with us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. We do appreciate your time. You don't have the opera singers still in your life, do you? You're not an opera singer yourself, right? You just hang with the opera singers?
I'm a fan, and I'm a supporter. So I do hang sometimes with some opera singers because I go to the opera and I support them and I admire what they do and what they provide to society. Just like the world of arts and culture, I think it's so important that we continue to support it because it provides a lot to our world.
I love that your entourage includes opera singers.
So we tried to sing like Ave Maria with you right now. You wouldn't do it?
You wouldn't do it? You wouldn't do it with us if we did as a show because we would do it poorly?
No, I would sit and watch. I would enjoy the show. That's what I like to do.
Yes.
The opera.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but we need to wrap now.
Okay, look at her ruining all the
I'd
fun.
love to have your parents
Look
on the
at
top
her.
of my board, dragging you all over the house.
Get this lady out of here. Who's that lady? Get her out of here. What is she doing?
I just met her today.
Get her out of here. Get her out of here. We were talking. We were about to make the man sing. The pandemic, Stugotz, has sort of screwed up time and how quick or slow some things feel, but it really wasn't that long ago that we were ordering LaVar Ball, big baller brand sneakers, and they took 11 months to get here. And it really wasn't that long ago that all of this was happening where he's swaggering on the First Take, introducing himself to us. And a lot has changed since then. He was bothering the Lakers that were pre-LeBron James. Magic Johnson quit at a really bad time to quit. It would have been a good time to stay for a little bit longer. Get LeBron James, get your championship.
His kids turned out to be pretty good basketball players.
But just slow down for a second here, because Lord knows you hyperventilate with the wins. You want to apologize to Steve Kerr and Steph Curry today. You want to publicly apologize to them after ripping both of them for being nothing when they weren't champions. And now they're good again. The wins change on this stuff from minute to minute, week to week, month to month. But what I want to ask you, as Richard Williams is being celebrated on HBO in a movie by Will Smith, whose late career honesty has been super fascinating to watch since he tried ayahuasca and apparently doesn't give a bleep anymore what anyone thinks about anything, and publicly comes out and tells you about his open marriage and is telling you about having so much sex now that he developed a violent throw-up vomiting reaction to orgasm because he had such an uncomfortable relationship with women and sex. He's talking openly in a way that most Hollywood celebrities do not.
A very public struggle that he admitted to with his own personal weight gain and bringing people along. And this book that he has released, it is open in ways like from the jump that are just, there's a certain level of shame that comes attached to some of those family dynamics that he speaks to. Abuse, he himself says he feels a fair amount of guilt about how he looked the other way or didn't do enough to stop violence within his own family, and puts his father's business out there. It is a really honest and at times uncomfortable look at his climb. And this was, you didn't really know how guarded he was because he was family friendly, box office, bankable, and there was a darkness and a sadness and an insecurity there.
An amazing talent that over the last 10 years hasn't had the kind of success that he would want, has had some flops, but it's been, to watch him go from rapper, TV star to in Ali doing an Oscar-worthy performance on acting, to now what he's doing here, I don't think is very good. I don't think that he chose a good project with Venus and Serena.
King Richard? I haven't seen it yet.
I heard it was good though.
It's just it feels a little flimsy, and that story itself felt a lot richer than it's been portrayed by how it is on HBO Max, where Compton was overrunning the country club and Richard Williams is trying to do that, or Will Smith is. The writers around Will Smith and everyone else is trying to make that seem like a softer story than it actually is, to make it more palatable to more people.
I would say that his portrayal of Richard Williams is actually really good, particularly because he doesn't look anything like Richard Williams, but the way the mannerisms and imitating the speech pattern and all that, he does an excellent job. The movie is okay. It's fluff, as you said, but I think his portrayal and his role, people are going to be very impressed with it. But I want to go back to what you guys are talking about with how open he is. You guys don't feel, am I the only cynic in here who thinks it's really performative and everything that family does is all very Kardashian-esque of just trying to exploit their family saga into content, the whole red table talk.
Yeah, the red table talk. Well, this was the place that it started, okay? When he talked about his marriage, and we really infiltrated their life in a pervasive, invasive way the moment that we're snooping around. Wait a minute. Was Jada Pinkett sleeping with a rapper while she was with Will Smith? And were they talking about it honestly? They gave us all of their private business, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. I understand your cynicism, but I would just tell you that from people I have talked to who have done ayahuasca, or in the case of like Mike Tyson, which is like smoking the poison from a toad, there's such an ego killing in the act of doing this spiritual cleansing that it becomes a bit of a God portal for people. And they then decide, I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm going to put all my business out there. It doesn't matter how you judge me. I'm going to live my truth.
Did the whole family do it, or is it just him? Because everybody in that family is incredibly open whenever they are on content platforms that they control.
You're talking about the kids too. I imagine I understand the cynicism because they've spun it into a win, but it didn't start by them, right? They were kind of outed in a very public way. There were whispers about their family dynamic for years, and people never felt comfortable to make that mainstream conjecture until there was a credible outing of their dynamic.
I don't actually question the authenticity or honesty of this, even though with actors, I suppose anything can be performative. With actors, what I would tell you is that his journey to me has been fascinating because he's immensely talented, and over the last 10 years, he's chosen to work as an orc and made some bad decisions. And I was wanting something from him over the last 10 years that was not, pursuit of happiness, and some of the stuff that he was doing was really rich and deep. What are you laughing about? The word orc?
Yes.
Well, yes.
Perfect use of orc.
It was excellent.
That was
great job by you.
You didn't miss a beat.
You chose the perfect word. Yeah, it was great.
But it's been disappointing
because kept moving.
It's been disappointing because he's so talented. And so now I've been fascinated by, oh, wow, this guy's talking honestly about everything now.
The Scientology thing, we got to talk about that too, right? Because that's what created the lane for him to create all these terrible movies like After Earth and Bright and all these movies that have
Wild West.
It was pretty good.
File.
Come on, man.
That's a file.
Come on, man.
File.
The backstory on that was just some producer had always wanted a giant
It
spider.
entertained,
A
man.
giant spider in a movie. And next thing you know, just put it with Will Smith and a giant spider. We'll have a big hit.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah. I wonder if he actually gets to it in the. It's a very long book. I wonder if he addresses the Scientology stuff. I haven't seen any of that.
Interesting
on Twitter.
listen, or
Yeah. Yep, it grabs you right away.
I've taken the long route here. I can talk about Will Smith for a
Trying
while.
to shame me on audiobooks. I'm not going to let you.
I know you're not.
I'm reading that ever.
Richard Williams was viewed as a kook who obviously raised two women who not only are champions and two of the greatest tennis players ever, emerging from the same womb and being groomed by an unusual, really unorthodox style that wasn't exactly welcome in the country club from Compton, has also raised two women who appear from the outside to be pretty balanced. Now, years later, LaVar Ball, who has been quiet now, relatively quiet, certainly quiet for him for years now, of embarrassing his kids and being the story instead of his kids, was on the sidelines of LaMelo playing against Lonzo. And he was wearing a hat that read, "I told you so." And I think he gets to wear that hat.
Yes, he does.
Like, no matter what you thought of the clown show, he raised two big ballers.
Yep.
And he was wearing the mask still. He's stubborn about it. He's still wearing the mask on Big Baller Brand, which is a bit of a laughing stock. But, I mean, I ask you and I ask the group, does LaVar Ball get to say, "I told you so"? Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Does LaVar Ball get to say, has he earned his "I told you so"?
Can't with the boxing gloves, Dan.
The pencil. It just isn't as exact as he needs it to be.
I mean, you put the pencil backwards.
It's
You gotta
weird.
go eraser there.
It was stabbing my hand, and there's no eraser on this pencil because someone ate it off like an animal.
Ew. Who did? It's a pandemic.
know
Who's
who would
doing
do that. I don't know who did it, but there's no other way it disappears.
Tony.
It was me. Sorry.
Oh, wow. So the case
confession.
closed.
Wow, that's the first case he's solved.
Does LaVar Ball get to say, "I told you so"? I mean, it depends. I don't think any of us sat back and said, his kids suck. They can't play. We all knew they were talents.
Some did. Some did. Like when Lonzo was having his early struggles, and it just didn't match the bravado. Some certainly did.
Well, I mean, in that case, you could say to this day, they saw hasn't matched the bravado. He said his son was better than Steph Curry.
Well, LaMelo was a game changer here. He also said like his middle son,
I mean,
Angelo, was amazing.
I mean, he has two starting point guards. I mean, the Hornets are 13-10. A lot of people say LaMelo Ball is the guy they would want for the next 15 years if they could choose one player. And Lonzo Ball's on a team that's 14-8. He's playing well. Like, he wins.
Stugotz, you don't get to have it both ways. Either we say, yeah, your kids are NBA players, but we said that at the time, and that's it, right? And so they're doing exactly what everyone thought they would do if he doesn't ruin their career. No one said they can't play. It's not like he proved anybody wrong in that regard. The opposite is if we're going to say, well, you guys didn't think this or that, then I would say, Lonzo Ball, he told us he's going to be better than Steph Curry. He told us he was better than Steph Curry right now. That clearly isn't the case. 4 years ago, it's not the case right now. So which is it? My thing is, let's not move the goalposts and pretend like people said these kids suck. We all saw the talent. What we questioned was, is LaVar going to ruin this? And
so how good do they have to be for his "I told you so" to be welcomed by you? They got to be better than Steph Curry.
I mean, that's what he said.
So it can't be "I told you so."
No, if they're doing exactly what look, if LaVar Ball,
What if the "I told you so" was, hey, I'm not going to ruin my kids. Everyone relax, because he hasn't ruined his kids.
Well, you could say Lonzo's struggles, a lot of it were trying to live up to expectations that were unrealistic. And in turn, I would say LaMelo has really benefited because he saw what happened to his brother and was able to learn from those experiences and carry himself differently. The other thing was, LaVar isn't around Charlotte all the time the way he was with LA when Lonzo got there. So maybe some of the success that both of the brothers
distance.
Yeah, some of the success both of the brothers have experienced is because their father isn't on first take every day.
How good is Chicago? I know they're fun. How good is Chicago? Like, can Chicago be a top 4 team in the East?
I would say at this point, yes, because what's happening with Philly, we don't know what's going to happen to them. You look at Brooklyn, even though they're number one. I think touch and go.
Well, but can you really do that with Brooklyn? Because for all the complaining we've done about Brooklyn, you just skipped merrily past that, even though they're number one. Like, For all
They're
their
15 and
for,
6.
for all their troubles, they're still the best in the conference.
They're 15-6. They're 7-6 against teams above 500.
Okay.
Like that's not an impressive 15.
They're not overwhelming.
They're not overwhelming the way they should be, even with Kyrie out, right? Miami is up and down as well. Washington is, I think, above it, over their heads a little bit.
The Bucks are starting to play though.
Bucks are starting to come because they're getting healthy. So could Chicago be top 4? Absolutely, Dan. I think they've got a good chance. I didn't think they would have been before the season started, but what Lonzo Ball and Caruso have done, they've really turned them into an up-tempo team, which is something that they weren't last year, and 2, they've made them into a very, very good defensive team. Those 2 guys right there changed the defensive identity of the Bulls almost single-handedly, and so yeah, look, they're to me they're very impressive.
I've got a question for the group here that you made me think of when you just mentioned Caruso, because I think in that sport, Jokic probably to a degree wins on this front. Like, how is he doing that, looking like that and moving around like that?
He wins forever.
But Caruso alley-oop dunking, wearing that headband and just looking like Caruso does, it's one of the most dissonant visuals that I have across sports, because obviously I'm underestimating him with stereotypes that have to do with white athleticism, but the headband just looks so ridiculous that
It doesn't help,
that can't be getting alley oops in an NBA game of the high flying Chicago Bulls.
He's a doofy looking dude. I would argue with you that Caruso's look versus how he plays there's way more dissonance than Jokic's look versus how he plays. Because Jokic, you might say, oh, how's this chubby guy the MVP of the league? And then you watch him play, but it's not like, oh my God, he's jumping out of the gym. He's playing like a big chunky guy, but just a really, really good big chunky guy. Caruso plays nothing like how he looks. If we were playing pickup ball, you didn't know anybody. What round would Caruso be drafted?
Would he be last?
Especially if he came out with the headband.
Would he
yes.
be last? You guys think he would be last?
The guy that comes out with the headband is trying to sell that he's a good basketball player, but everyone knows that he's not.
I'd select the guy wearing flip-flops over Alex Caruso.
Stugotz, you're a Knicks fan. How could you say that?
What do you mean?
Didn't Melo always wear a headband?
Yeah, but Melo's he's I draft him first.
He's black.
No,
that's what you're
That's what he wanted to say, but he just stumbled over the he's.
I'll say it for you. He's black.
I'll draft him first.
He's cannonball.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Elmer Fudd in Space Jam. I get it.
This is crazy.
Headband looks good on Carmelo.
This is crazy because we just watched the clip from Always Sunny right before, when Stugotz was nowhere to be found. We were watching this clip from Always Sunny where they're coaching kids at like the YMCA or whatever. And
Mike, why is your head in your hands right now?
Because the clip is really funny. It's like anything from
You guys were howling with
it's
laughter.
like
about
anything
that.
from It's Always Sunny. It could be viewed through today's prism or through any prism. Even at that day, they're like, this is really
they
on the
edge.
walk the line. So there's a bunch of kids, multicultural. Dennis decides to pick his team. He picks all the black kids. And so D and Matt come and say, what's going on? He said, I'm picking my team. And D says, you can't do that. And he says, do what? and D sounds exactly like Stugotz right there. You picked all you.
It hasn't. You should end the segment, Mike. It's been a minute since we've played for Stugotz. Like, he bailed on that conversation the way he's been bailing across 20 years, where he just sprints from the room and jumps into a pool.
Cannonball!
We have a lot of projects around here that we need you to support in order to support the go-it-alone nature of what it is we're trying to do as a network here. And so I want to tell you about those projects, because beyond South Beach Sessions and Mystery Crate and STUpodity, beyond that, there are a whole bunch of new projects that we're going to embark on in the coming years to give you more and more network options. And Off the Looking Glass is one of them. Jessica is doing that with Kate Fagan, and you've got what coming up this week, Jessica?
Well, this week we have Brianna Stewart on, and she's great. She's going to Puma. She's going to have her own signature shoe, which is a big deal with a female athlete. You will hear more about that and the history of that on the show. Kate did an incredible feature on the Air Swoops and the history of that shoe and signature Nike shoes that I think people will really, really like. If you're into sneaker culture or Nike or just sports apparel in general, or you just like hearing a good story, I think people will really enjoy that. Kate did an amazing job with it.
But do you have a clip to promote off the looking glass, Jess?
We do, Mike. Thanks for
So
asking.
natural.
That
So
was
natural.
really seamless. We've been doing a lot of different skits and it's kind of a magazine style variety show type thing. So we did something last week in last week's episode, which we didn't get to play last week because of the short week, that I think people will like. So I don't know, Mike, do you want to play it?
Women like to feel safe. Women like to feel powerful. Women like to strap their titties down when participating in physical activities. That's why one of the leading producers in men's tactical gear is making the first ever tactical sports bra. Tac Bra! Sure, everyone has sports bras, but not like this. Tac Bra is made out of Dyneema, a high-performance polythene tactical fabric that's lighter than water, 15 times stronger than steel, and can literally be worn while being run over by a Humvee. Run over by a Humvee. The Tac Bra comes equipped with 2 high-intensity strobing flashlights to stun and disorient competitors. This high-performance wear also comes in silicone carbide, nano Kevlar, and metallic glass. It can withstand sub-zero temperatures and extreme heat, but should only be washed on gentle with light colors. Gentle with light color. Women are up to 400 times safer when competing in Tac Bra, and that's at any level. Tac Bra comes in 4 flattering and flirty digicam prints, but only comes in one size. Only one size. Tac Bra gives you peace of mind so you can keep your head in the game. Tac Bra Tactical Sports Bra. It's a bra.
I thought that at the Heat game the other day, when we were getting praise for our sneakers, I believe that is a first in show history where a group of people, Amin met out with Izzy, and I was thinking to myself, Kate with Juju and Tony, like you guys, I don't know if there is an appetite for a weekly sneaker type of show. I think there might be, but I can't believe that our show has gotten good there fast. Like we've gotten stronger in the shoe game very quickly.
Yeah, we classed it up for you guys, I guess. Yeah, take that, LeBatard.
I mean, you guys, I was surprised.
You're welcome.
I was surprised at how stylish you guys were being celebrated so much for your shoeiness. And Kate fancies herself like the best of the sneakerheads.
Kate is very knowledgeable when it comes to this. She always looks great. She always has great shoes on. When we talked to Brianna Stewart, I'm not sure if it made the cut, but Kate was like, if you only could take one pair of Nikes with you, if your house was burning down.
Is she a Puma person? How could you say that?
Yeah, well, it was. She just signed the Puma deal, so we were like, we understand if it's Nike, like that's okay. Like it's hard to find all of one type of apparel and then like switch over and then start from scratch. So we talked about that with Brianna Stewart, but she was like, yeah, I would probably take my Nike Jordan Dior's. And we were like,
wow.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's like a $15,000 shoe. So thanks, Brianna Stewart.
That's a heady play.
/ arsonist.
There is heady play, insurance scammer, agent of chaos, Billy Gill. I am glad that we brought him.
I'm rubbing off on him
with the proceedings. STUpodity. Also, you guys were talking about something funny that had happened with STUpodity that I think we have sound for as well, but I don't know what the sound is.
Well, Dan, so Bobby Valentine, Bobby V, has a book that came out yesterday, actually. So he came on to kind of promote the book and just tell us stories. And Bobby V, according to Bobby V, has lived quite a life. And he's done a number of things and can do basically everything, according to Bobby V. And one of the things that he can do is dance. And he claims that he won some international dancing competition at the Fontainebleau in Miami. And he could have been on Dancing with the Stars.
He was a champion ballroom dancer, man.
Yeah, champion. That's what I was saying. He's a champion ballroom dancer. And then we suggested, hey, maybe you should be on Dancing with the Stars. And surprise, surprise, he knows the person that invented the show and may or may not have been in talks about joining the show.
Do you have a clip?
Yeah, we do. It's right there.
I don't know who's worse at teeing up a clip, me or Billy. This
If
has been
Dancing
very
with the Stars had
difficult.
come along like 10 years earlier, you would have been like this national phenomenon that everybody knew. Not that you're not, but it would have been a whole nother level.
Could have been a whole another level. When that, interestingly enough, and it's not in the book, but when that started, one of the founders of that was a guy from Westchester, Mitch Slater. And Mitch kind of called me up. He's a friend of a friend. And he said, hey, do you want to do this? At the time, though, I had a crooked leg. I was an older guy. I didn't have the balance and all of the dexterity. I mean, I could do the steps, but I didn't have really what it took. But I could have been on one of those original shows and it really would have added to my brand.
You never think, let me call Mitch now. I'm feeling a little bit better. You look great. I don't know how you look this
You look
great
amazing,
at 71.
Bobby.
Maybe you could tell us that secret later on. But you never think, let me call Mitch up and give it a go?
Ouch. Yeah, we lost Mitch last year. Actually, he was a terrific guy, and he has since sold the program.
I just want to point out.
Billy wanted me to ask that
what
question.
an agent of chaos. He loves it. He loves that he killed
Billy's heartbroken. He was heartbroken.
Killed
so
poor
bad for
Mitch.
Bobby.
You're badgering Bobby Valentine
Mitch,
until you make it so
just
that
last
Stugotz
year.
is laughing at his late friend Mitch.
Rest in power.
By the way, Mitch Slater. So you think you can dance with his show?
Oh,
Dancing with the
wow.
Stars with someone completely
Wow,
different.
so Bobby Valentine would have been on So You Think You Can Dance.
Which is a completely different show, by the
I'm
way.
going to have him back on and find him. I mean,
Is this the
you
same
knew
as
Mitch
the
too?
Bagel Mitch or no?
Bagel Mitch, because he claims to have invented the rap, not Bagel Mitch, but Bobby Valentine claims to have invented the rap.
Like the sandwich or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the
He's
musical
invented
styling?
everything. He's invented
You thought I
everything.
was saying rap like an old person? The rap, the hip hop. No, the sandwich rap.
The rap.
the sandwich rap. He claims to have invented it.
Not just that, we had conversations about the possibility of him going to space.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, those conversations have happened already.
Mm-hmm.
STUpodity, people. Check it out. Bobby V, the former Mets manager who most famously, he won a lot of games. I think he won more than 1,000 games, right? A good.
He was a good manager. He was a good player. He really was.
He's most known, though, for wearing a fake mustache after an ejection.
Yes, and I told him he was my inspiration for when I got kicked out of a lacrosse tournament. I came back in a disguise on the parent sideline and coached my team. He was very proud of me. He really was.
Billy doesn't. Billy, why are you shaking? Why is skeptical Billy behind that mask?
It was just two Stugotzes yesterday cutting it up.
Really. Bobby V is me, and I am Bobby V. I meant to tell you guys, I spoke to Adam Gase, by the way.
He got back to you today?
He did. I had a conversation with Gase. Gasey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's where he was.
What did he say? He's interested in Notre Dame or what?
I found this to be interesting. Besides the fact that we're playing golf a week from Friday at my course, okay? Adam Gase is not only not interested in the Notre Dame job, he's not interested in coaching. He is, listen, he is in South Florida.
Is a feeling mutual, perhaps.
Wait, are you breaking this news?
He has found he will not coach for a while. He has found some balance in his life. I didn't ask him for anything. We just had a nice conversation. It was a couple of friends cutting it up who are now playing golf a week from Friday. It was great.
Reporting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to play golf with him. I'm not certain if he realizes, part of the
What do you
allure
mean
was
you
him
don't
being
wanna
the
play
Jets
golf
head
with him?
coach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You definitely want to play golf with Adam Gase.
No,
I
this is
do.
how
I
Stugotz.
do.
No,
I
this
do.
is how Stugotz is. If
Yeah.
you can do something for him as the Jets head coach, he wants to play golf with you. I believe that Stugotz might treat Adam Gase the way that he treated Charlie Hume many years ago when he showed up, drove 90 minutes, and Stugotz hid from him on the golf course because he didn't want to spend time with him. I believe
Money
that-
Charlie.
No. I showed up to the driving range, okay? And I owe Charlie a call. But I showed up to the driving range.
I thought you were going to say, and I owe Charlie money.
Well, I hit a couple of balls with Charlie.
That's what the call's about.
Chaz was hitting him 350 off the tee, and what I told them was, hey, I am sorry, the course is booked, but there's a course right down the street. I can't join you there, but there is a course right down the street. I'll set you up there.
That's what you're going to do
To Gase? No, I'm not going to do that to Gase. I mean, I'm going to play with Gase. It felt oddly good to have a conversation with someone and not ask them for anything. It was crazy. In fact, he asked me for something around the golf.
See, he's already framing it. It's like I'm doing something for him, and it's going to have complaint. Stugotz is going to get like one hole in and realize this was a terrible mistake because I can't get this guy on my podcast. He's not going to do anything for me. I can't even use him to level up, and he's going to like get a family emergency, like a bat mitzvah or something that he's got to leave immediately.
Is there the possibility that Stugotz, that all of a sudden Adam Gase shows up and Stugotz just asks him to shovel the driveway and park cars?